Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Testing, testing, testing. Do we have good audio? Oh boy, do we. I think we do. I think we have good, consistent, non-clipping audio. And Umbreon hears it, so he's got to hop up. He's got to hop up. Tell us how he feels about it. How do you feel about it, sir? Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. How are we doing today? There's Fluzzy B. Great to see you, Fluzzy. How are you doing tonight? Umbreon, are you going to bother me this whole stream? I was hoping you would go lay down. Can you do that for me? Could you do it? Could you go lay down? Why? Why do you have to? It's like you, because I'll talk to the mic. I'll like test it. You know, I'm talking to it. I'm speaking to the mic. But then as soon as I actually click the button, suddenly he loses his mind. I don't get it. I don't understand. Whatever. There are bigger problems in the world. But let's see. It is Wednesday, December 10th at 10:38 p.m. EST. The best ST. What? What do you even want? You've got everything you could possibly want today. You're fine. Let's see. Fuzzy says, good, just did a solo karaoke session and forced my daughter and her friends to endure from a different room. Love that. Hope you had fun. I was going to do some specific content tonight. Like I was going to cover the Nick Fuentes, Piers Morgan. My hair's kind of crazy. That's okay, it'll do. I was going to cover the Nick Fuentes, Piers Morgan interview. But number one, I've watched it like 3 times now. I guess twice on like watching other streamers cover it. And also I don't want to. And thirdly, I saw Tom Foolery was covering it. And I'm watching his chat while I'm watching him cover it. And, you know, half the people who would be watching that here are already watching it over there. So it's like, I don't know. Whoa. No, sir. So, you know, I was just like, we can talk about it. I think it's an interesting thing to talk about. Oh, good to see you, Cellulite Podcast. But I don't know if we'll bother actually going through and watching it all. Also, I almost didn't stream tonight. I almost didn't, but I knew I wanted to stay committed to my streak. I've been coding all day. I've been coding and playing Pokemon. Sir, you need to stop. Come here. Come here. Hey, no, sir. Calm down. I've been coding and playing Pokemon. And just kind of enjoying the day and walking the boy earlier. But I got to stay on the streak. I got to keep streaming. I got to keep it going. So we're live. And tomorrow we are going on an Admiral Gibbs panel. Yeah, true. Share the stream. Yeah, hashtag retweet. Hashtag retweet. Oh man, Umbreon's gonna drive me crazy. Yeah, tomorrow we're going on Admiral Gibbs' panel to talk about the funny enough, the Minnesota fraud situation, which we were just talking about the other night with P Fletch in the chat. Hey, Cop Watcher, good to see you. So luckily I've already dug in a little bit to that topic, so it should be interesting. It was so funny. I guess Gibbs asked Kel to get him in touch with me so he could invite me to the panel. He said he's revoking his no radical coder rule, which is hilarious that he had one of those. And so Kel adds us to like a group text. and it's like, no, girl, like, no, just a Discord message is fine. But that was a funny mishap. But in any case, yeah, we're going on there, and we're gonna be reunited with our favorite adversary. The Rob Noor will be on this panel. So long lost lovers, radical coder Rob Noor will be reunited at last. Can they make it up? You know, can they make up? Will they? Won't they? I guess we'll just have to see. Tune in to find out next time on youtube.com/radicalcoder. But that's tomorrow night. Tonight, yeah, we're just chilling. It's the chillest stream on the internet. We're the chillest one. They actually did a study on the chillest streams on YouTube, and we came out on top every time. It was quite remarkable. But it is what it is. You know, the data speaks for itself. Umbreon doesn't agree. He thinks this is the most frustrating stream on the internet, as you can tell with his whining. Good to see you, Polygraph Lie Detector, by the way. I know a red shirt when I see one. Oh, yeah. Gibbs? Yeah, probably. But, a challenging conversation is a challenging conversation. And I am nothing if not a sucker for a bit of discourse, even if it's kind of bad faith, and if we're dealing with both Rob and Gibbs, although I don't know if I don't know if Gibbs, because I don't watch Gibbs panels, so I don't know if he gets into his panels like a Wick or a Prime Kai, or if he just sits back and plays more of a moderator role. But there's a bunch of people on this panel, so Grid's gonna be on there. Who's another one I haven't talked to in a while? Ryan Mullally. Oh, my least favorite Ryan. Well, there are worse Ryans, but he's pretty low on the list. Or pretty high on the list of worst Ryans. Pretty low on the list of best Ryans, I guess. My allies will be Liberal Cluck, who I don't think I've met. I think he was supposed to be with me on a Wick panel a few weeks ago, but he had to cancel or something. And Sociologic Ali, who I think actually is seems like a pretty reasonable dude from everything I've seen. So, we'll just trash. Well, yeah, for all of them, right? But then you got the boys on the other side fighting for truth and justice and the American way, right? Me, Sociologic, and apparently Liberal Cluck. Polygraph says, cheers, hope things are going well. Did you have a chance to check out that app? I'm guessing I didn't, because I don't remember what it was. I'm sorry. It's been a crazy few days. I've been a busybody. Hey, couple of Berks, you want to fight? All right, put him up. Let me at him. Umbreon wants to fight you, I'm sure. Can you hear him? I mean, this guy. I'm not going to react to your sobbing. Like, you're not going to convince me to play with you by crying. I can't reward that. It would instill bad habits in you, and you would whine during streams, kind of like you're doing right now. So maybe I've already ruined it. I've spoiled my dog rotten, and I'm going to have to get a new one. Integrity Index. Well, let's check it out right now. Why not? We're just chilling. Integrity Index. IntegrityIndex.us. This is about like who funds people. Let me pull up. Let me show you guys what I'm looking at. Um, I'm not sure why AOC was the first one to pop up here, but A plus for integrity index. That's a good. I don't have money to give you guys, but if you guys want to give me money, then eventually, whoa, don't want you guys to look at that. Then eventually, I can support stuff like this, right? So, support the stream, support the dream, support the ween. Like the stream, subscribe if you're new. This is the chillest stream on the internet, right? Like, I mean, you are. It's kind of like a bragging rights thing if you get to tell people you're on the chillest stream. Whoa, whoa. That's the loudest whine. He's really losing it. Pistols at dawn. The 10 dual commandments. Number 1. What? It's ridiculous. Oh, it's built with Lovable? That is interesting. You know, as a matter of fact, the app that I'm working on right now, that I spent all day working on. Bro, I'm just going to hold him. Come here, buddy. Come on. No, I'm not letting you out. No. The app that I was working on all day was built with Lovable, and I was hired to kind of convert it into like a production ready app, and you know, take out all the Lovable stuff and kind of like reorganize the code base and fix all the architecture, and do fun stuff like that. So this is interesting. Some of the components and stuff here look fairly familiar, as a matter of fact. So maybe Lovable has some like recurring stylistic choices. It would appear, like some templating that they use. Why? You're impossible, dude. I just don't know how to handle you. But yeah, this is cool. So let's see. We get a breakdown. 71% small donations, so that's a good sign. 29% large donations. Well, depending on what like the bar is there and what those large donations are, that's maybe not the worst thing in the world. Obviously, we want our politicians to be well funded. We just don't want them to be well funded by dark billionaire interests, right? But look, we can see all the PACs, so you can see how much they donated to her. That's cool. National Nurses, Human Rights Campaign, Progressive Voters of America, Future Democrats, just a few $1,000s here and there. Listen to him cry. Polygraph says, yeah, to get people responsive designs and avoid terrible designs by people who aren't designers. Yeah, for sure. But also, like, I guess I guess it's only been really in the last month when when I'm using Gemini and Opus 4.5, they have all the apps I generate with those. I feel like they just have so much more personality to them. Like they've just got a lot more. They feel a lot more customized. They feel a lot more personalized, I guess. Like, well, let's imagine. This is just a beta, right? Please, sir. What am I supposed to do? You know what? Hang on. Oh my God. He immediately got jumped by the cat as soon as I opened the door, but he'll be okay. Hi, Gay Odyssey. That's great. Now there's a clip of me getting up off the screen and hearing my dog squeal, so that's fun. I promise he's okay. Yeah, it's a shock collar, yeah. I'm doing well, Gay Odyssey. How are you? I was thinking we could try to produce something like this, right? Just kind of see like what Gemini or Opus would make now. Yeah, goodness, loud, very loud noises. Okay, Odyssey says, no, you talk very kindly to your dog all the time. I try. Shock your dog, you can't stop. I'm addicted to the grind, and the grind is shocking my dog. That Yelp made me sad, though. He got sweat. He just runs out there to play with him. Whatever. Polygraph says, this is kind of a segment of that larger thing I was mentioning earlier. Like having apps like this that track this sort of stuff. Notice there's no calls to action here. Oh, yeah. Well, what would what kind of calls to action would you want to see in in something like this in particular? Thanks, guys. I mean, maybe I feel like I'm too good. I feel like I'm too amenable to his requests, you know? Because like I feel like he wouldn't whine the way he does during these streams if I didn't like reward him to some degree or another for like he knows that he can kind of get what he wants more or less if he screams enough, which is not good. I don't want to instill that. You would expect 5 calls integration? Oh, sure. Yeah. The trick is talking about this stuff publicly. Yeah, well, people steal the ideas. Well, I mean, to some degree, I kind of hope they do. I kind of want them like take it on, build it, guys, build it. You know. Gay Odyssey says, Brian, it's very hard to know how much attention to give a dog or not. Just follow your intuition. Yeah, that's true. Let's compare Ocasio-Cortez to, I don't know, Marjorie, right? A C, obviously liberal bias. Couple of Brooks says, ignore bad behavior and reward good behavior, but it's tough. I shush my dog when I'm streaming with treats all the time. Yeah. This is what you're looking at. Is randoms building it? Sure. AOC's net worth is $50,000 still. Is that real? Hey, glitching. We're chilling. It's the chillest and most radical stream on the internet. To George Santos. Okay. Wait, he's not, I guess they don't have him. He's not currently in office, right? Whoa, Gay Odyssey hitting Polygraph. I don't think Polygraph sucks. I quite like Polygraph. Speaking of Polygraph, Polygraph says, since her money's in donations to the campaign and it's not her wealth. Yeah, for sure. Guys, don't rag on George. He tries hard, says Gay Odyssey. Tries hard to do what? Exactly. Well, it's... No. Holding politicians to a higher standard. Top 10 sellouts. Look at that. Based squad folks and Ossoff. Is Ossoff considered part of the squad? I guess not. Maybe the squad's like expanded. I don't know. Maxwell Frost. Bernie. And then over here on the sellout side, we got French Hill, Catherine Clark, Kevin Hearn, Josh Gottheimer, Tom Cole, Buddy Carter, Scott Peters, Fs. Damn, imagine getting an F here. Yeah, AFC is great. I really like her quite a lot. Hey, Bong and stuff. You know, Bong and stuff. I saw you over in Tom's chat, right? I wanted to watch. I was gonna go live earlier at like 8 p.m. or something, and then I pushed it to 9. But I was gonna cover. I was gonna watch the Fuentes Piers Morgan thing. That was what I planned yesterday. But I saw Tom was watching it, and I'm looking at this chat, and I'm like, half these people are my viewers. I don't want to be competing with Tom watching the same content. Like, it just felt weird. And also, I just don't want to watch it again. It's so long, and I want to talk about it a little bit. I think there's a lot to talk about with the Nick Fuentes Piers Morgan thing. But I guess I don't need like content reviewing the entire thing, you know? Gay Odyssey says, Magaverse knows George is a hot mess and fucks up all the time, but he's lovable. Interesting phrasing. Polygraph says, will be good to keep them there longer term. Yeah, well, I don't know when this, yeah, I don't know like what their like cutoff was or how they, I mean, yeah, maybe whatever data source they're using, remove them. But yeah, I agree, obviously. Polygraph says a few quick examples. The call to action, you need their contact info, you need election dates, news. True. Ooh, okay. I smell what the polygraph is cooking. So let's try this. Let's say, hey, Gemini, build an app like Integrity Index, but it should also include contact info, election dates, news, etc. for the politicians. Build a demo for now. Gay Odyssey says JF Gariepi covered Morgan v. Fuentes earlier. JF Gariepi allegedly murdered his mentally disabled girlfriend, right? That JF? Polygraph says creating a smart news filter system that relates things and helps with content organization for news and sets them up in a timeline, etc. Ooh, I like that too. Panelverse telling everyone to hit the like button. So true. Did you guys hit the like button yet? Have you clicked that little thumbs up? I know, look, you can't always support with your funds, but you can support with your thumbs. We love it when you do that. Really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. Polygraph says, if randoms do it, yes, it will be done, but on 50 different sites, nothing integrated, and the calls to action will be weak. We don't want that. Growling says, Ryan is anti-content. Yeah, maybe a little bit. You can give your take on the Fuentes interview, Gay Odyssey. You sure can. Chabot says, I've gotten all the takes from Fuentes versus Pierce. Yeah, I mean, everyone's covered it. Everyone has, right? Do I need to be just another guy covering it? A couple of Burke says, it was too long. I hate Morgan and Nick, so it wasn't a fun watch. Yeah, I mean, I guess like the painful thing about it is like Nick is funny. This is the problem. This has always been, there he goes again. He's fighting the cats. This has always been the problem. Like Nick is funny, right? Like if you're an edgelord or if you've ever been an edgelord, you can see like what his humor is and like why it's funny. And like a boomer, an old British boomer like Piers is just not cut out for like the pearl clutching, like, oh, so you're racist? And Nick's like, yeah, I'm racist. Yeah. Like, yeah, I'm racist. Yeah, hell yeah, I'm racist. Like, it just doesn't work on this style. Like, that's like not the way I feel to go after a Fuentes. Oh, the tweets too. Yeah, that'd be a good touch as well. Glitchin says, so I have an issue platforming Nick, not because his ideas are mind-breaking or anything. It's just the dude's been spitting the same lines for what feels like 20 years. Yeah, but, well, I mean, I'm obviously not platforming. You have an issue with peers platforming him is what you're saying, I think, but. Oh, you want back in now? Of course. Are you going to be chill? No, he's not going to be chill. He has been spitting the same lines. It's just, I mean, but now he's getting like way more popular, right? No, sir. In no small part due to like the faulting lines in the Republican Party, and I think that's the other thing about watching Pierce. Doesn't Pierce like wrote a book about like ending wokeness or whatever, like about how wokeness is over. And he's like just there, like acting like the most stereotypical like woke person, like the way the right would characterize like a woke person. Like, oh, so you're a racist. You're a racist. Like, I don't know. I sometimes call people racist. I sometimes call things that people say racist. But like after that, it's like, okay, now let's talk about why we're using that word and what the implications of that are. And like, what is racism? Like having a conversation about racism, not just like saying the word and then expecting like everyone watching to go, oh, he is racist. Like, yeah, we know Nick's racist. Everybody knows Nick's racist. I mean, I guess like for like a normie boomer audience, maybe it's effective. I don't know. But for like younger folks, like Nick just looks cool. Like younger edgelords, Nick just looks cool in that whole interview. Well, maybe not at the very beginning, but like for most of it, like he just looks cool. He looks cool, pretty funny, which is bad, right? This is a really bad thing because his ideas are monstrous. Okay, Odyssey says, Nick Fuentes brought up a lot of random facts about black crime that when isolated are really tragic and should be discussed by anybody but Nick Fuentes. Well, that's always true when we talk about like the like racist people bringing up crime stats and stuff. I don't like, you know, I don't know that any of the facts that Nick cited are accurate. In fact, I would doubt any stat cited specifically by Nick. But like it is true that there is a lot of crime in the black community. There are problems with crime, and I mean I agree with you. Like those can be productive conversations when they're not had with white supremacists. Gay Odyssey says JF did not murder Mama Gary Epi, but he's getting progressively more broke and moving farther and farther west in Canada. He also can't keep his spaces clean. I hope CPS isn't involved. Are you sure he didn't? I don't know. Someone's home, so Umbreon's going to scream again. So, are you ready? Hey, Umbreon, stop. Stop. No. You do need to cover it. I show up to your stream to watch your opinion. You're getting my opinion. I don't have to watch it live on stream for you to get my opinion about the content, right? Glitch says the same takes everyone has had about Nick for what feels like 2 decades. Nick is a big who cares. I mean, like I want to agree, but like it's just clear that he's like he's growing, right? Like his audience is growing. Like he's getting more. He's more like more people are aware of him than before. Polygraph says this is why the point of debating fascists is a lose-lose. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to that. Like as someone who does a lot of debating fascists, you know, like it very much can be a lose-lose. I don't think it's always a lose-lose. I think sometimes, depending on how it's handled. And I mean, I'm not perfect, you know. I don't always handle it necessarily well. Did he bring up the 6-7 meme? I actually missed that part. Oh, 6 or 7 million. Oh, yeah. And he's talking about, yeah, like, they find more, we find more all the time. Like he like Piers is like pretending that he's like concede, or not pretending. Piers like thinks he's conceding, but like he's memeing on him, like he's dunking on him, and he's signaling to like his edgelord edgelord like younger male viewers who are hey, stop. Like he's signaling to them like memes. I mean, it's dog whistling, right? I wouldn't say you were platforming, and Piers for sure did, and it's like, OMG, wow, he's a racist Nazi. Like, yeah, bro, we knew. Yeah, for sure. He projects so hard. Gay Odyssey says Piers just didn't know what he was doing. Well, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I don't know Gay Odyssey. Look, I've seen a decent amount of JF content. I've debated JF. I'm not saying that like debating someone means you can know whether or not they've murdered their girlfriend or whatever. But he's a weird guy. I don't know. What happened to her? Where did she go? Where did that woman go? I don't know. I got questions, man. And I feel like I don't know that there's public answers. Has she turned up? Like she seems to be missing. No? Chatbot says, will the edgelords get over it in time with a deeper understanding of why Nick is wrong? Some of them will. Some of them will for sure. I think some of the stronger moments for Pierce were like when he was pointing. He's like, Nick, like you're not a kid either. Like you're a damn getting near 30 years old now. Like, you're not this young silly buck anymore. I think that like that sentiment is there was something to that. I don't know how Nick like if Nick internalizes anything about that, but like I mean he's a grown ass man, Anti-content. We're just chilling, man. Why don't you chill? Chatbot says free speech good. Maybe you and Destiny make them look stupid. Yeah, we do sometimes. Destiny probably is more effective at like just making people look stupid in conversations, and I speak from my own experiments, my own experience debating him, right, with the racist math meme. Like he made me look really stupid in that conversation, which was really frustrating because he was just totally like gaslighting the shit out of me. Fuzzy says, what is the 6-7 thing? I keep hearing it and forget to look it up. It's a song referencing a basketball player in an interview. Or it's a song. No, I'm sorry. There's a song and there's a basketball player referencing the song in an interview. I think, maybe his number 6-7. There's something like this. And then it was like somebody referenced it in an interview. One of them, somebody. I just watched an Instagram reel explain it. So, but like, kids right now it's just all over their feeds. So it's 6-7, like it's just it doesn't even have to have a real meaning, right? Like it's not about the what I just described realistically. It's just about it being a funny, repeatable thing. Platforming and framing fascism is just one-sided debate is so toxic, especially when you get memed on all for society. Yes, I agree with this. A couple of Burks. Yeah, it's very frustrating. It's it goes back to people who were pointing out that like constantly pretending there's two sides to the climate change debate, and like one of those sides is there's no climate change, everything's fine, and the other side is like no, it exists, and like that's the debate instead of like how do we handle the problems that are arising right now from climate change. Like, and I feel like I'm sure there's a billion other examples of that. I'm taking your ball away. I have your ball. You can't get it anymore. I have your ball. I have his ball. Gay Odyssey says, Mama Gary Epi. Can we stop calling her that? Can we stop calling her Mama Gary Epi? It feels inappropriate. But JF's ex. I guess I don't know what else to call her. Fine, Mama Gary Epi is probably living in plain sight in Quebec. You don't speak French. How would you know? Well, I mean, like, I just figured that if somebody knew, then, like, you as a JF viewer, right? If somebody knew, then you wouldn't be saying what you're saying right now. You would be just telling me, oh, she actually, like, we already know she's around. Like, she turned up or whatever. She's been found. It's been resolved. JF's been cleared. But you're not saying that. You're saying she's probably living in plain sight. And Ryan, you don't even speak French. So I'm on to you, Gay Odyssey. And I'm on to you, JF. You should review the song the meme comes from. It's a banger. I mean, I'll listen to it. I don't think I can review it on stream, right? Hey, Michelle. Okay, I'm caught up on chats, and I think... Yes, we are caught up. Okay. So let's check out our own integrity index. See, this is already better. This is already way better than theirs. Like, look, we pull up Jim Jordan. Well, they're both pretty good. I think ours is better, though, because ours now has all the contact info. I mean, this is probably not actual contact info, but even the clickable email, a link to the website. Do they have those here? Like Jim Jordan. Gay Odyssey says, I think Mama Gary Epi knew JF was going hard broke and got out before things are as bad as they are now, and they're bad. I mean, I'm sure things are bad for him. But also, like, wasn't his story that he, like, dropped her off outside the woods or some shit? Like, was that just a joke? Or I don't... Like, she was missing. The police were investigating JF because she was missing, right? Like, this, we're talking about a missing person here. So JF Gary Epi is a race realist, white nationalist freak who, used to, I guess on multiple instances has, I don't know the right word is here, entered relationships with seemingly in one case in a court of law demonstrated to be mentally incapacitated and unable to consent to his to being in a relationship with him, and the other case, which is Mama Gary Epi, who I don't think is the same person as the one from that court case, but I could be wrong about that. She was like living with him for a long time, and then she wasn't, and his story was that he like dropped her off outside the woods with some credit cards or something. And then I guess the police were investigating him because no one ever, like, her family was looking for her. I don't know that there's been any updates on this. I don't know if anyone ever found her. I mean, maybe there's no smoking gun. But he's fucking weird and creepy and crazy. And, I don't know. I can't say what happened. I don't know. I am just a guy on the internet. But my gut tells me that there was some nefarious shit there. I'm not gonna lie. That's what my gut says. I can't demonstrate any proof. I don't have any. I've seen interviews with him in the wake of it all, and I Oof. The money is scraped from open secrets, likely. Well, it could be interesting to you know what might be really cool is focusing less on like the UI, like we're doing right here with Google Gemini. Although this is a pretty nice UI, to be honest. But focusing less on the UI and more on the data and like kind of aggregating all of that data. Although I guess that's what like open secrets and stuff would do. But you know, we can aggregate like the news and the open secret stuff and like election data and have all of that in one place, presumably. Gay Odyssey says, Mama Garepi was last seen at a gas station, which makes sense. You can fly from Montreal right to bunches of countries. She was dropped off at a gas station, right? By JF. That's his story, anyway. I typically would build this out from a feature set perspective. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Like I can think of like it'd be cool to be able to just like interact with this data in a bunch of like fun ways, you know, but also have like a clean view like this. Like let's look at the news tab. Let's see. Oh, no news tab. Oh, okay, but here we have the news. I mean, no, these are fake, right? Yeah, I mean 2024. Yeah, the governor of California is not Sarah Jenkins, right? Oh, yeah, I agree with Michelle's analysis of this, by the way. Yeah, a disabled French-speaking person would really fly to foreign nations. Yeah, exactly. Ridiculous story. Yeah, have a good night, couple of Burks. Always appreciate you. Glitchin says, would you do state propaganda for money? How much money? I don't know. The problem with AI is it's basically a shell template almost. I mean, not inherently, but in a sense, yes. If you have to do all the lookups manually, well, yeah, of course, like we shouldn't have to do that. Like ideally, what I would do is code an AI like server, like a Python script or something, that pulls, like collects all that data, maybe throw together like a little SQLite database, at least for like the prototype version of this, right? Polygraph says, answer no state propaganda. Yeah. I mean, realistically, that's the reality. No, I don't think I could be bought. Or I mean, like, I think for enough money, I might be swayable to some degree. I don't know how much. I don't know. I'm just trying to be honest because, like, I mean, especially like right now, I'm kind of a broke bitch. And like it sucks ass. So like, you know, I just imagine like someone reaches out to me and they're like, "Yo, here's some crazy money." I would have to think about it. I don't know. I don't know. You know, like damn, that is some hard shit. I think the issue, just a warning for anyone who might want to expend massive resources to try to get me to do propaganda for them. I can't like keep my mouth shut very well. I'm not like I just kind of I've got like a you know stream of consciousness, and I would probably implicate you and me. So if you're gonna give me a bunch of money, do it transparently and don't expect me to toe your line or whatever. But on that note, please give me money. We accept super chats. We love gifted memberships. We love memberships. I have a Patreon, patreon.com/radicalcoder, where you can support my Umbreon, my dog Umbreon, for only $1 a month. $1 a month. Watch. Exclamation point, Umbreon. We have a Patreon. Are you guys on that Patreon shit? The scale of something like this is not a one-person project, basically. Well, it's interesting you say that. Because I agree with you in terms of getting, I mean, even just, I'm just looking at this. It's not that complex. Like, I wonder, maybe we could just spend a stream like trying to like just reproduce the functionality of this app alone and then start like building on it. Do they say where they get their data from, what APIs they're using? They have this little thing. Oh, see, these are just okay, so they have like features coming up. That's kind of nice. Oh, you can vote for like which issues get precedence. That's nice. That's a cute thing. I thought it was going to be an AI bot that would let me talk to it. I just feel like we're approaching a point where like a couple people can build like pretty remarkable software, you know? Like even one person can build some pretty cool shit like just over. Yeah, how many devs are in chat? Also, check out, join the Umbreon fan club. $1 helps to fund squeaky toy reparations. Listen, every 5 minutes, one squeaky toy is murdered by a tiny dog. You can help replenish the supply of squeaky toys to be fed to these murderous, evil, cruel monsters like this one. Help this bloodthirsty cretin destroy as many squeaky toys as he can get his blood dripping jaws on for just $1 a month at patreon.com/radicalcoder. Thank you. In the arms of an angel. My voice cracked there. I'll check that out, Polygraph. Crime? Same with gaming, crime. I don't know what you're saying there. Gaming and crime. True. The nerd chat. What was the nerd chat? I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm lost. The one about devs? How many devs are in chat? I'm just confused. These icons are kind of slick too. They probably paid an artist to make these icons. Like these are probably not like AI generated. Maybe. Yeah, database of users. I think it's time. The frustrating thing about building something like this on stream is I don't want to I feel like the easiest way to do it would be using like Replit, and I just don't want to spend the $25 a month for Replit Core. But I think realistically, it's something I need to invest in right now. And we could build some like more robust systems, like live, that actually have like powerful backends that like aggregate all the data that we're talking about here. Let's see, where do they get these images from? Do they just have these like on hand? memberguide.gpo.gov/pictorial images. Okay, cool. So so there's like a formula for it. I guess you guys can't see that, but the URL has like a formula to it. It's like here, if you can see that. Let me open up OBS. Yeah, sort of. Use real politicians You can access images using URLs like so. Do research and get specific facts and news, etc. about them. Let's see what it can do. I mean, again, this is just to Polygraph says, I'll throw out there that I'm down to invest some money into these or hosting, etc. Okay. All right. I'm listening. Some of these things have rules we can set via rule systems. Others have data we need to look up ourselves. Yeah, I mean, a lot, like, the thing is, there's APIs for, like, all of the data that we're talking about here. Or there's, like, there's scrapable, like, databases or websites that have the data, and we can just scrape them. Like, all this data is ours for the taking, you know? Like, we can definitely aggregate it all. Gotta scrape them all. Oh, I want to play Pokemon. I've been having so much fun. I really like the Mega Dimension DLC, guys. Polygraph says, I forgot to mention a few other points, but you want some form of interaction that I don't have the design in mind yet. Yeah. Interesting. Maybe like, I don't know. I mean, like, something simple could be like little quizzes and stuff. I don't know. I always like quizzes. Bong and stuff says, food for thought, linear for project management, or an internal system to keep track of the roadmap project management data. Is linear a tool that you're recommending, or you're just talking about being more linear with project management? Aggregated news could have localized comments. Sure. That's interesting. Although we'd have to, like, moderate it. Bong and stuff says, also a design guide system to constrain your visual construct. True. True. Are you on Discord, Bongen? Linear is a tool. Let's check it out. Linear project management. Plan and build projects. Don't mind if I do. Ooh. Meet the system for modern software development, streamline issues, projects, and product roadmaps. I do kind of like that. Bong and stuff does not Discord. Interesting. Oh, we can link GitHub. Okay. Let's see how satisfying. So, I love a good to-do app, but it's got to be satisfying to check off things. So just right-clicking, going to status and changing it to done. Or, oh wait, are these keys? I can use, so wait, if I, okay. So S4, okay. S3 goes to in progress. S for status. Let's say this one is backlogged. Interesting. I might play around with this a bit. It's funny, Nightbot came in with the Discord recommendation right after. Oh, Fuzzy posted it. Okay, that makes sense. It's basically designed for API-driven project management and integration into MCP systems. Oh, well, that's convenient. Because, although hasn't Anthropic, so Anthropic with Claude, they kind of popularized the MCP like workflow, or like architecture. But I think they recently wrote some kind of scathing's the word I'm looking for. Some scathing critiques of their own, like the monster they've created. But then I also saw Theo was streaming. Theo of T3. I don't know. He's the guy who made fun of Elon about project management or whatever about rebuilding Twitter back in the day. He did a stream, and I think it was him. Yeah, apparently Linux is starting to use Rust, not just Rust, but MCP as well. So maybe there's a newer way of doing MCP that people are going to adopt regardless. Yeah, you don't have to provide everything in here. Polygraph. Bong and stuff says Replit offers it as a default integration, so I don't have to think about anything. That's fast. So Replit can hook into Linear, is what you're telling me. Damn, you're gonna make me renew my. I literally like almost. Hey, calm down. I literally like right before stream, I was like staring down Replit Core, like looking at that $25 a month, and I'm like, there's a lot of things that I could build right now, and I'm sure I just know that Replit is like so much better at coding than it was like 6 months ago when I was using it. That is tempting. I don't know if I'm going to do it like right now on stream, but I think I'm going to have to play with Linear a little bit more, but I'm liking it. I imagine this could also be like self-hosted, right? Because it seems pretty simple. It's got a desktop app. $12 a month basic plan. I don't need 5 teams. I don't need unlimited file upload size. I don't know if I need unlimited issues. Like all that's all you get. Admin roles. Oh, yeah, $10 per user. Let's see what are all the stuff. Okay, we even have access to agent platform, MCP access. Yeah, I feel like I don't need necessarily any of this other extra stuff. I feel like I could probably use the free version as pretty well. AI. Oh, okay. Available on business and enterprise plans, so I can't use AI. Wait, but there's available integrations, but I can integrate into it with other tools, right? Jump scare. All right, we got real data now. Be quiet. Did you guys know this is actually a real picture of Ted Cruz? I know it looks like the placeholder, but it's like actually a picture of him. It's very strange. No one can figure out like why he looks like that, but he's in Cancun, yeah. It's amazing. Have you guys seen the Ted Cruz butter cow? This is my favorite picture of Ted Cruz. Wait, what the fuck? Ted Cruz butter cow. Why is it doing this? Here. Open image in new tab. Here you go. Wow. A cow made of butter. My girls would love it. In fact, the first sentence Caroline ever said was, I like butter. That's my president. That's my president, Ted Cruz. Just let it soak in. Let that butter soak in. Anyway, interesting stuff. I'll have to play with this more later, but I like it in theory. I guess. Well, you know what's next. Let's see if I want to fight with anybody. Who's live? Is No Fugazi still alive? I was watching. No, it looks like he's not anymore. Oh no, he is. Do you guys want to debate Fugazi, Cooley?
A bit of our worldview. I know that Volcan shares a bit of our worldview. We got Rolando and we got Del Roar, whatever his name is.
It looks like they need some progressive representation, some DEI for progressives. Looks like maybe chat finally broke. It's been so consistent all night. I thought maybe it was just gonna keep working, but it looks like it finally is pooped out. So, you know, Yarn. I've used Yarn. I think isn't it like isn't Yarn kind of like NPM? Is that what you're talking about? I feel like I used it back in the day. Mega bloodbath debates I've been turned on to. Very smart people from time to time. Yeah, I have tuned into some of their stuff. I just don't do a lot of like God debates. But I guess I could have fun with that. I think I do think about the like I feel like they probably do lean into conversations about like objective morality and stuff like that, which I think are interesting debates to have. But yeah, they're mostly talking about like the existence of God, right?
With another man and they're both consenting. Do you think that that's morally wrong?
Well, since they're married, that is
just the woman is married.
I wouldn't say like a contract, but that's a religion.
Wait, what was the question? I thought he was asking if a man has sex with another man, is that morally wrong? But now it sounds like it's if the woman has sex with another man. So I think I missed. This is going to be so cringe, isn't it?
For example, there's a certain age that you can't legally consent to things like that.
Okay, what about marriage? What about a wife and there's a woman, she's married and she has sex with another man and they're both consenting. Do you think that that's morally?
Oh, he's just saying like if she like cheats on her husband or whatever. Like sure, it's don't cheat on your partners, guys. It's bad, shame. Oh, the Jira stack. I don't know if I have the energy for this tonight, guys. Do we want to do it?
Sex from her husband, would that be immoral or moral?
Like this feels like, I mean, I know as soon as I get in there, it's going to get like a little bit more interesting. Like, I don't think any of these, I suspect none of these people are even remotely progressive. So basically abandoned traditional project management for all internal systems and just recently got turned on the possibility that I might adopt something else. Sure. Up to you. Yeah, well, yeah. I'm stuck here either way. You are literally free to go, but please don't go. Let's look at who else, because there are. I mean, I think Confluence's panels are sometimes fun. Society X is live. Let's see how fucking British they are right now.
you can basically reword the fucking book and then re-upload it again. Whereas something
Well, I
printed-
think there would be records of it from the fact that they had to.
Speak English. Speak English. You're from England. Speak English. It drives me crazy.
Stein.
But you know what I mean? If you got something printed from an old library, you know, you can't.
I can't do it. I can't. I feel like the conversations here are more pleasant. Like this would probably be a more pleasant conversation than the Fugazi one. What about Mr. Confluence?
I do.
Yeah.
Brandon's there. Yo, we got Brandon Mize, friend of the stream.
Most of the beliefs that are
Like to me, you just sound more
and, and Alexander too.
than anything.
Okay.
Like
I'm not agnostic. I am.
I'm sold. I'm sold.
mind created the
Confluence.
universe.
Confluence. Do you believe it? Do you like participate in religious ceremonial church and stuff like that?
No, I'm
Yes.
atheist.
The
Wait,
confluence.
yeah, he was asking me.
Sorry.
I would say I do, but I identify as an esoteric Christian. So again,
Yeah, you're arguing
like,
with somebody who has no like fundamental belief.
I have a lot of
fundamental,
fundamental beliefs. It
No,
just-
no.
You're talking to a heretic, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
I don't know how long I've left.
Speaking
this guy
of
in the back
heretics,
chat. Did you just
You're
show
kind
up,
of
or
making
did I
unfalsifiable claims.
didn't
in
mean
my
to
opinion.
leave you, Ryan. I don't know how long you were sitting there. I just looked
got
down.
30, 40
But
minutes
hey,
or so.
hey guys, I appreciate the debate. This was great practice. I'm gonna head out.
Yeah. Okay. Good luck on your debate, Kalen.
Yeah,
For
thank
real.
you guys. Bye.
You ran.
I wanted to talk to him about the morality stuff. His morality stuff seemed confused.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
the whole perfect imperfect thing. He's gonna need to work on that because that's a really flawed take.
I thought a clear example of, because his view of objective morality had something to do with all reflective agents. I think that's the word he used.
Yes.
Just never watched majority.
All reflective
I'm glad Brandon's
agents
on there.
have the goal of maximizing well-being or something like that. But a clear counterexample is people who are suicidal, right?
Yep.
They don't have that goal.
Right. And I give the example of people that sacrifice for other people. It's like yeah. So even philosophically, I don't think it connects. But even like punting to our reality, I don't.
And
There's
actually-
like many of counter examples.
I think if you look at like the Christian God, there's a lot of examples where your goal isn't to maximize your well-being; it's to help the most desperate. Right? It's not like you're not looking to maximize well-being for any specific person.
Right. I mean, yeah. What? Like, I think 11 of the 12 disciples, at least according to church history, died.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this.
unpleasantly.
Yeah, scripturally speaking, like that's like the goal.
Yeah.
That's the idea. Not that almost anyone follows that. But
Ryan, you as a faithful believer in Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, what's your thoughts on this?
I wasn't following the conversation before, so I was streaming and I opened it up and I was like, oh, Brandon and Alexander are on there. I'm gonna hop on. So I mean, if you wanna.
Oh, not confluence. Okay, I see how it goes.
Well, it's your stream. Of course, you're here.
Well, yeah, okay. Definitionally, that's true. We were talking philosophy. We're prepping a guy for his debate, unbeknownst to us. But
Yeah.
What's his
I
debate about?
am a bit more slippery. His debate was against he's a Protestant evangelical, although he really needs to figure out what the prompt is, because he said it's if God is like true / good or something, and it's like those things are, or if Protestant evangelicalism is true or good, and he wasn't sure on which one. And I feel like those are very different arguments. Like if it's good for society or if it's true, because something can be true and bad for society, or it could be good for society, it could be not true.
Well,
so.
but I wonder, because I do listen. I mean, I argue with a lot of I guess the evangelicals and stuff, and they seem to use these words in almost interchangeably in some senses.
good and true.
Like what?
good and true, or those you're
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah. Like God is God is the good and God is the truth. Like they in a kind of like you. I mean, I might be kind of bastardizing but I feel like I get this sentiment a lot, and I personally I have trouble kind of making sense of it all. But I mean, is that
Same.
not like a sentiment that?
I mean,
I
I think God can be two things, but like, I mean, I was just saying that I think God is logic, and I think God is also exists, and I think God is also good. But just because I think God is multiple things, it doesn't mean all those things are completely synonymous with one another. Is
So
what
you're
I would
saying
say.
he may not be logically good or
No, I would
truly
just say
logical?
like when I say God is logic, I don't mean the same thing as when I say God is good. Those are identifiers with God. But
Right, you're
everything
saying-
that is logically like a good is a moral dimension. Logic is not. Logic is amoral. So when I'm saying God is all logic, and when I say God is good, I mean entirely different things. So I'm saying both apply to God, but I don't mean that those two things then are connected. They're different like realms.
I know exactly what you're saying. When you say God is good or something, the is there, you're not saying it's an is of identity. Like a bachelor is an unmarried man, right? Those things are identical. You're more so saying that those are properties of God. Like when we say the ball is red, like red is a property of the ball.
No, I can't. This is like what is it called? The Euthyphro's dilemma? Do I have that right?
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Wait, are you not talking about do I have the wrong dilemma? Are you talking,
No, I'm just...
where like, does God define what is good, or does good define what is God? Because I'm not saying, I do think God is definitionally good. I also think good defines God, and I also think, God is defined by good. I think it's a false dilemma, is what I would say. But if you don't mean that, then I guess then I'm just like saying nonsense right now.
Yeah, you're saying nonsense. It's okay.
Yeah.
So you're not talking about Euthyphro's dilemma. I feel like you are.
No, because I'm talking about two different senses of is. Because sometimes when people say X is Y, they're saying X.
I know. Yeah.
They're saying
identified or is like, yeah.
Or it's a property.
Like the ball is red or the ball. Yeah. No, I get. Yeah.
So which one is it? When you say like God is logic, are you using the is of identity or are you using the is of predication?
Both.
Or it's a property?
Both.
Both?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not sure that's coherent. I think whoever said that you're speaking nonsense, I think that might be right.
Yeah, because I think this is where my issue arises, right? Because
how is that? In what way is that not coherent?
Well, here's why. Because I mean, were you not? I don't remember exactly what your response was to my question about like when people say God is truth and God is good. But like the implication, if we are using is as an identity there, like God equals good and God equals truth, then the implication would be that like truth equals good, which is what I was kind of pointing to and why I'm like having trouble making sense of that. But if good is like a property of God and truth is a property of God, then that's a different sentiment that's being expressed.
I guess, but I don't mean. I mean, I don't know my logics enough to know. So I don't know, the little equal sign, but with like another little fucking line in the middle. Like, yeah, I don't know if I'm talking on a purely that type of level. But I also don't mean what Brandon means with like saying that ball is red. I don't mean that. I do mean that God is logic and God is good, but we're going into different dimensions. So in the logical dimension, God is synonymous with logic. In the moral dimension, God is synonymous with good, but those are still different dimensions. So I'm not sure what the correct way to, I guess, express that is.
Do you think symmetric might be a good word? Because I think sometimes those three can like we can say like two triangles. We might I think we use that in geometry sometimes to say like two triangles are similar or like maybe symmetric's not the word I'm looking for. This might not be the right path to go down. I'll let someone else chime in.
I don't know how to. I hope at least I don't know if my point is getting across, because again, I wish I had the better perspicacity to express it, but I just mean, the moral dimension is entirely distinct from the logical dimension, but God is the thing that is both of those things, and those things are not the same because we're talking on completely different dimensions. So like I could be, as an example, if you're like a pantheist, which I am a panentheist. So I think God is the universe, but I think God is also like, morals. Do I think morals are the universe? Like that seems to be a confusion of different distinct branches of philosophy. So like, I think God, like if we're talking on one level, I think it's weird to then punt to a different level and then make those two things be the exact same. You know what I mean?
Okay, you may have a different conception of God than the people I usually speak to. Then, so do you think God is like the classical theistic notion of all powerful, all knowing, a mind, things like that, or do you think?
Yes, not necessarily in the way that I think they always express it, but yes, I do believe that God is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. But I think God
That's
imbues
a good question, Polygraph.
all of reality at
Now what is a good
at
question?
every single moment. I do think that is true as well. So maybe I take omnipresence to be more than I think what your average Protestant takes it to be.
Sure. I think just doing like a semantic analysis might clear this up. If you say something like, God is good, what do you mean by good there?
Well, this is why I mentioned the Euthyphros dilemma. It's like I think because that was the classic thing. If God, maybe to use a basic thing, right? God commanded the ethnic cleansing of the Amalekites, right, in the Old Testament, and then so you could ask the question, right? Is it good because God commanded it, or did God command it because it's good, right? And that's kind of an example of the classic dilemma, right? But I think it's a false dilemma because I think God defines what is good, and so God.
But that's what we're.
Good
that's
things,
the word.
but also defines
what
it.
the dilemma asks for is: are you saying God is good? If He is good, then what He commands is good because He is good. It has nothing to do with whether it's good in its action.
Well, I think I disagree on that. I think I disagree.
Okay.
I think
I'm
we
trying
should.
to parse it in my head, but
Couldn't
I think when
God,
you say the word good, we just need to figure out what that word means, man. Listen, when you say God is good, we just need a definition for that word good. We can figure this out.
I'm okay. I'm trying here. I think God is the beginning of all. God is the beginning of all good actions. So I think yes. I think everything that God is moral.
But moral is just a synonym for good, though, right?
I'm trying to. But I think I don't know.
It's all right. I don't have to press you on it, but that is something to consider.
I do. It's like I don't know if that is a thing that can be pressed further. I guess is my. I think that's what's sticking on my mind, and maybe I'm cucking myself, but I think it's like
Sure.
if it is an identifier, then I don't know if you can go deeper than that, right? Like if I'm let's say in my life, if I'm trying to do the best to a person and I'm fully trying to care for that person, I am doing good to them, and that good is God. I don't know if that can be more pressed because I wouldn't want to press it to like some consequentialist thing or utilitarian things, although those things can be helpful for talking about morals and how we parse this stuff in a physical reality. But I wouldn't want to further reduce it to things that I think are lesser than what it actually is.
And there are people that. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. There are both atheists and theists that take that view. They want to say something like good is irreducible. So when you ask me like, what does good mean? All I can do is really give you synonyms. Maybe I can give you intuition pumps to try to convey the concept. But it's an irreducible term, meaning that you can't define it any further. It's this sort of irreducible property. But then I think you run into issues with people that do take something like what is good is just what God commands, because you think God commands things, I'm assuming, right? Or maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what you mean exactly. I guess
Oh, sure.
I'm not trying to be wiggly. I'm not trying to be wiggly.
No.
It's just
I don't take it that way.
Well,
Okay,
I'm
good.
curious. I mean, and I don't know if this helps with this conversation. I mean, it might. Like, because earlier you outlined something, and I'm not super familiar with like the Bible myself. So, but you outlined something that happened where God commanded the ethnic cleansing of some group, right? And then
the Amalekites,
yeah. So like, I guess like the way from my like worldview, right? Like if like I can imagine that like he might command that something bad be done because of like what we might call like the greater good, right? Like that conceptually makes sense. Like but that seems like a fundamentally different kind of statement than that. You seem resistant to making like those sort of natural, I guess like natural, I don't know the right like those more secular framings,
yeah.
right?
I get what you're saying. I guess what I would say is I think that we would look at that and we have human explanations for why something is good or bad, and we'll punt to things like utilitarianism or consequentialism to kind of establish these things, right? And we'll anthropomorphize God as if he's a human, and we'll try to be like, okay, what was the consequence of that? Or why might he have done it? If I was God, why might I have done this? But I think these are kind of wrong-headed approaches that kind of like miss what's actually going on. So I think it's fine to do that, and I think it's a healthy thing to do, to look at. But I think we have to acknowledge that it is there's a fundamental gap between us and God in the way that morality is like is done or defined, right? Like, because boots on the ground, if someone does like an action that caused a lot of harm, I'll be like, yeah, Stalin bad. I can't actually look into Stalin's heart and know if his intentions were bad, because when I say something's bad, like ultimately I am, if I had to give a label, I'm like a virtue ethicist. Like I think like if you intend good, all we have as humans, in my opinion, this is not, mainline Christian doctrine, but all we have is our intentions. That's all we have. So even if you do an intention and it ends in like egregious horrors, all we can be judged on is what did you actually intend? With the knowledge you have, what did you intend? You can't look at the actual basis. So even for someone like Stalin, I will say on a human level, I think Stalin is an evil guy. I can't actually look at his interior state and know if he was evil. I can't look at his intentions, and that is what I think God would judge on, right? That's what I mean by something being good or bad, right? Is what do you actually intend to do? Do you intend to bring good, or do you intend to bring harm, right? But then I would still make moral judgments as a human based on things like consequences, right? Or what causes the most amount of harm. Like I think those are natural things to do, but there is still a gap between that and someone's intention. Does that make sense at all? So I would say Stalin bad, but I don't actually know. I can't, from a God's point of view, I actually don't know. Maybe everything Stalin intended was actually good. Like I can't speak on that, right? Like I don't know. I can only speak on my own morality at any given moment. Am I doing what I know is what I should be doing, or am I doing something that I know is bad? That's the only thing anyone I think can be judged on.
Interesting.
Do you disagree?
I mean, yeah, of course. I think we can judge. Well, when we say judge there, maybe you're using like I mean, like if somebody like for whatever reason believes that like it will be a good thing to like I don't know. Well, I mean, hey, this is reality, right? It would be a good thing to that like women don't vote, right? Like someone might think this is a good thing to do, and their intention is to like bring about a world they think will be better. I would still think that would be bad, and I would still like try to stop them from doing that.
Well, but I feel like, and I think I've introduced this, but I think it's impossible to not introduce. I think there is semantic overload that's happening. Like I would agree that is a bad thing, and I would want to stop them too. But I think it's possible that from their point of view, it could be true that they're doing everything from what all they know, even from like a biological point of view, right? Like even Ryan, even for you, like you're an atheist and stuff, you're an anti-theist, I think you've said, right? So even you, right? If someone is just that's the biochemistry they have, that's the genetics they've been given, that's the environment they've been exposed to, and that's the conclusions they have come to, and they are trying to do what is best, then from their point of view and from any moral point of view, right? They're not trying to intend harm. They're not trying to do bad. Now, you still, from a human point of view, it's totally fine for you to judge that you think they're doing bad. I'm not saying like no one can judge, right? But that's where you get the semantic overload from themselves. They're intending only good, but they might still be doing bad. And on a human level, we want to stop those people. We want to fix that. But can you judge somebody if that is actually their heart of hearts? Let's say you believe that person, that the repeal of the 19th or whatever the fuck people say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say they truly want that. And let's say you believe that they actually truly believe, and there's no subconscious, they actually think that is the right thing to do. From their point of view or from a higher morality, if you were God, would you actually judge them? Would you say you're doing something that you know is wrong? I mean, they're doing something that they think is right? I mean, like what?
So you asked me
doing an immoral action.
The question you asked me there, you added in. I'm judging them for doing something they know is like the knowledge there, like that's something they know. Like the implication being that I can't judge. I wouldn't judge them for doing something bad just because they don't think it's bad. I don't know. Like I feel like maybe the word judge here is. I'm not sure. Like I mean,
I guess if you were God and you peered into their soul, and you see only good intentions, then it's like
the thing that I'm judging them on.
Judging
them on isn't on having bad intentions about like what the world should look like or whatever, like trying to make the world worse. Like I'm judging them on not valuing like the autonomy of those other human beings that they're trying to disenfranchise. Like that's what I'm judging on. Like, that's the
we can separate their character from their actions. We can say maybe their character, they have a good character, right? But their actions are evil. Like, I don't see an issue with saying something like that, maybe.
And their values are bad, also.
Sure.
Right, but did they? Again, the question would be if they chose those values or not. Like, if they truly came to those values in an honest way, in a to the best that they could possibly do, then it's like if you were an outside moral agent looking at their life, it's like, what could they have done better? If they're trying to do the highest thing that they truly think is good, then from that point of view, then like what could they have done otherwise, right? If someone is doing the best they can, definitionally they're doing the best they can. It might have bad outcomes. They could be a terrible person, right? They could have terrible results. But from an internal state, if they're doing the best they can, they are doing the best they can, right? So I think that's the distinction I'm trying to draw, right? Like similar to what Brandon's saying about, I guess, like the character versus the outcome thing, right? Like Stalin could, even though I am judging him, but I also leave room that I don't actually know his character, and maybe his character he was always, in every moment of his life, he was trying to do the best. I don't think the evidence points to that, but I think it's possible. It's theoretically possible that he was trying to do best in any given moment. And if you were God in that situation, and let's say let's say you are God and you are going to decide, is this guy going to hell or heaven, to make it really ham-fisted, right? It's like, are you going to send the guy or that red pillar who wants to repeal the 19th? You're going to send him to hell, even though if you actually could see all of his intentions,
Definitely.
Everything he meant was to do good, you're still going to be like, no.
Yeah,
no,
everything you try.
Myron Gaines, straight to hell, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, or like a slaver, for example, right? Like historically, like there were people this is where the difference between them.
So why are you
is,
sending him to hell though? That's crazy to me. That's insane.
I guess it's insane. It doesn't feel insane to me. Like just because
okay, go on. Sorry.
Like the thing they're doing, I feel is like evil. Like
I feel that too. But again, if you were God and you look inside them and there's no evil intent at all, it's just good intent, then under what rationale are you condemning them to hellfire? If this is in my ham-fisted, hypothetical.
But it depends what you mean by good intent there, because maybe somebody thinks like, what can I say on YouTube? Can I say the R word for where you do something that somebody doesn't want to be done to them? Can I say that?
Say grape if you can.
Okay.
Just
okay, of course. Okay, so if somebody thinks like it's a good thing to grape people, I don't really give a shit, right? I would still call that person evil, even if they think like, oh, this is actually a good thing. I don't think I would care.
I would too, but again, this is I think where the semantic overload comes in. Where on a human level,
it sounds like you wouldn't send anyone to hell ever, like really.
No, that's not true. No, I mean, I have done, I think we can, am I crazy? I have done actions where I know I'm doing the wrong thing and I do it anyway. I mean, I feel like every human has that. So I think the example, it's like, yeah, hypothetically that's possible, but I think anyone who's like a serial rapist they do know it's wrong. It's like maybe there's a theoretical world where they think it's right, but I don't know if that actually bears itself out in reality. I think if you're graping someone, I think you do know that's wrong, and you're doing it anyway. And we've all done, I think, actions where we know it's the wrong thing to do, and we fucking do it anyway. So we're doing, in that moment, we're choosing to do an evil action, right?
What if they just never reflect on it to evaluate? Like they're always like, well, like they have some justification in their heart to like that says like they go, I don't know, maybe they believe they're like the only ensouled person on the planet and everyone else is like NPCs or whatever, and like so I guess you would say this person would not go to hell. Whatever, they could do pretty much anything because they truly believe that they are the only one who's affected by anything. Like,
I mean, and yeah, I think I have two pushbacks. First of all, I don't think anyone actually truly believes that.
Yeah,
unless they're mentally ill.
Deeply ill,
in which
right,
case,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, in which case I would say, yeah, I don't know if I could judge. I mean, there's a case where in my country, right, where someone, beheaded somebody on a Greyhound bus and started eating parts of them and stuff. And that guy, right, he was schizophrenic. I mean, and he's released now, and I don't think he should be released. But I don't know if I would judge that guy to hell, even though he beheaded someone and he ate someone. He was schizophrenic. I think from all the evidence, he was like out of his mind, right? So he did an evil action, but I don't know if he intended to do evil, right? In that moment, I don't know if he made that choice to do evil or good. I think he was just mentally ill.
I feel like when I do something that I look back on and think like that was the wrong thing to do, I feel like it's rare that I'm evaluating everything and going, I'm gonna do the bad thing. Like I'm choosing it as I feel like I usually look back on it and be like, oh, that like, or like maybe I'm emotional or something and I like say something I'm gonna regret.
So is it always retrospective? Like for me, there's clear
always.
moments
Yeah,
where
not.
it's like I get a flash in my mind of like shouldn't be doing this, and it's just like and I fucking do it anyway, you know.
Yeah, I think because a lot of this language is loaded, good, bad, right, wrong. At least when I think I know I'm doing something wrong, I think all I'm saying there is that it's conflicting with other goals. Like, well, I don't want to get arrested, right? So probably shouldn't do that. If I do this, then I may get arrested, but I do it anyways.
That's so black-pilled. That's so black-pilled. You don't mean that. You don't mean that, Brandon.
I do mean that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
if
for some
you're
things, of course.
okay, so if you have a woman and you could grape this woman and you know the law is not going to be able to stop you, let's say you know that you're in some foreign-ass country.
Oh, I think you're misunderstanding me.
Okay, hopefully.
Yeah, because all I'm saying is when we say something like that you know you're doing something wrong, because when I use moral language like that, I'm just talking about my goals and my desires and stuff. And I think we can have conflicting desires. So when I say that I know I'm doing something wrong, I think I'm just saying I'm doing something that goes against some goal I have.
Okay, no, but I still feel like, and I'm not trying to drag my own channel into TOS territory, but
Sure.
in that example I gave, right, if you're in a foreign country and let's say your goal is to be successful and to live a super fulfilling life, and you're like, hey, yeah, I do want to grape this person, and it's not actually going to affect my goals at all. It's not. I'm going to be just as good without it. And in fact, I'll feel pleasure in the moment. So then, what would stop you from doing that? For me, it would be a moral conviction. That'd be like, this is the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
But what's the conflicting goal? What's if your goal, let's say, is just be very successful?
I want to hear Brandon's.
Well, I mean, yeah, it would just be a conflicting goal. But if you're saying I don't have a conflicting goal, and you're saying, well, that would be good on my view, you're just saying something trivial like I have that desire, which is true. You would agree with that. I have that desire.
Right. I guess I'm asking what goal would that conflict with? Like, unless your goal is virtue ethics, in which case it's a bit begging the question if your goal is to be the best person you can be. But if your goal, let's say, was just I want to lead the happiest life, let's say that's your goal, then it's like then when you're faced with that option to grape that person where no law will stop you and it won't conflict with your goals of leading a happy life, then are you saying you would do it?
When you say I would do it, I don't think I would because I don't have that desire first and foremost. But in this hypothetical,
let's say you
right,
did.
right, you're saying I have that desire, and
Yeah.
there's no conflicting desires.
Yeah.
And what's the question that comes after that?
Well, the question is there some? I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by conflict. If by conflicting desire you mean a moral impetus to not do it, then. But that's
well, like
that's
one-
Right,
begging
you're
the
just you're saying something
question.
trivial at
That's
that
begging the
point.
question. So
Yeah.
then that's what I mean.
I'm not making-
If your goal is to be a virtue ethicist, if your goal is to maximize your own virtues, then I agree that conflicts with your goal. But I'm saying if your goal, let's say, isn't that, then there would be nothing stopping that person at all. You don't think they get a moral signal to their brain at all that tells them this is probably the wrong thing to do. You think it's purely goal oriented.
I don't know what that means, moral signal. Unless
So
you're talking about goals or desires again.
If so let's say my goal was to become the richest person on earth. Okay, that's my goal. Okay, so then there's no reason that would stop me from graping this person in this situation. There's no reason because it's not going to affect my goal of becoming the richest person.
And when you say no reason, do you just mean no conflicting goals?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying something trivial. This person has the desire to do this, so
I know, and you don't think.
But
you don't
it
think,
feels
you
like
don't
you
think they
outlined this.
feel-
It feels like you outlined this to push back against what Brandon was saying. But I like he wouldn't like he does have like goals that conflict with, like one goal that would conflict with that, for example, would be the goal of not wanting to like violate somebody else's like autonomy, right?
Is that a goal? Is that a goal you have, Ryan?
I think so. Yeah,
That's a-
I mean,
that's
to some degree,
crazy
I want.
goal.
Is it like I value because I value I value people having that like individuals having like autonomy over their own bodies and not to be put in those sorts of precarious situations. And so as part of one of my goals is to uphold that value, right?
So by goals, maybe we're getting too like reductionistic here. By goal, do we just mean any possible thing that you ever want for yourself on any level of consciousness or subconsciousness? Because
when I hear
I've never
goal, and
consciously thought I don't want to be a graper. I've never had that conscious goal.
I wanna
If I'm
let
writing a
Brandon
goal chart, it's not
answer,
like do
but-
not grape people, right? Like it's not. But yeah, I don't want to do that either. So like by goal, do we just mean anything that you possibly could want for yourself? Because then we're just like weakening the word goal so much that it just means we're just like a nonsense free will thing that you always do what you always want to do.
yeah, I use words like goal, aims, desires, wants. I kind of use those interchangeably. I don't know if that helps.
Okay, but does it not just reduce to then like that we always do what our highest desire is, like just a kind of a truism that like I'll always do what I want to do.
Well, now,
Like what I'm saying
Like a
is that
different question.
yeah,
Well,
Like-
I
like,
don't know if
because
it is because
I'm not
if we're
always an
reducing
act-
goals
I'm not
to any
always-
desires.
No, I'm not. I don't feel like I'm always acting in service of my goals.
Okay, but then that seems very different than how Brandon just defined it.
No,
Because how Brandon defined it, you're always acting in service to it. Because he said he uses them the same as desires and wants and all that stuff. He said all those
I
things are the
don't
same.
feel like I'm always acting, and I don't feel like I'm always achieving my desires, my needs, my goals. And
yeah,
every
we
situation.
fail.
Of course
We
not.
fail with respect to our goals all the time. Whether it's something that we did to
Give an
fail, or
example-
whether
okay,
it's
give an example where what you're doing is not something that you want or desire. All the things you said, Brenda, you said were synonymous. Well, give
Mm-hmm.
an example the last time you did something that's not what you want to some capacity or desire or
Sure,
a
I'd go-
goal or an aim or any of the words you used.
I go to my local grocery store and somebody mugs me and takes my wallet. I didn't want that. I just wanted to go to the store and grab some food.
Wait, that's not a decision. That's not a moral decision you made though.
If I want to do it, it is on my view.
It's not. You think going what? You
I
think
am
going to the grocery store is a moral based on the unknowable future of someone mugging you? What the
no,
fuck?
no, no. When I use moral language, I'm talking about my preferences, my desires. That's what I'm talking about.
Me too.
So when you say is that moral, it sounds how I interpret that is you're talking about my desires.
I think the fact that the best example you have is you want to go to the grocery store with no idea that you would be mugged, and then you end up being mugged.
But that's me
just-
failing with respect to that goal. You wanted an example of that.
It's not. Time moves in one direction. It's not failing.
Well-
it's not failing at all. It's not failing in any sense of the word failing.
Well, it is if like his money gets taken away before he can go to the store, right?
Yeah, now I can't buy food.
Yeah, he cannot. He's failed to achieve his goal, literally. Right?
It may not
I think
be
it's a
my
good-
responsibility that happened,
Yeah, it's not on him.
guess-
Like it's not a moral
but
failing.
goal failed.
Maybe we're fucking postmodern, deconstructing fucking everything. When I say a failure, it's not something that if I pivot my chair, let's say, and all of a sudden my ceiling collapses and it just collapses in this spot, I wouldn't say I failed because I had no possible way to judge when my
What about
ceiling
shooting a
would collapse.
basketball? Shooting a
Or if it
basketball.
falls
I want to
here or
make the
there.
basketball and I miss. I failed with respect to my goal.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, okay. I not. It's still, it's so far out of the moral dimension that I guess. Are you just saying you don't believe in morality at all?
No, I.
That's what it sounds like. If
not
it's saying
in.
you go to the store and it's a failure that you got mugged, and if I move my chair to the side and something falls on me, then it's like, and if that's a failure, like that's emphatically not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, let's say, like I know, let's say I'm talking to Ryan right now and I say something really mean, and I know in my heart I shouldn't say this thing, and I say it anyway, and then let's say Ryan ends up like, let's say he does something, he like spirals off, and I find out, and I'm like, oh, and Ryan's like, it's because Confluence said this really mean thing, you know?
Yeah, you better be nice.
And
to me.
he criticized, he let's say hypothetically, Confluence asked like, why are your dip bars not in frame, and like, why aren't you doing dips right now and stuff,
Yeah,
and
both of us.
and can you do a dip right now? Okay, there we go. Now he's doing. Okay, good. Let's say that happened. It's like, yeah, and I knew if I had that like perspicacity in my mind to be like, I'm doing something hateful right now, and then something bad happened, that's a failure. Me just like right now when I'm talking, there's no moral stuff with what I'm saying. I'm not getting any like moral kind of like leadings at all. So if something bad happens, let's say I say a combination of words to you, Brandon, and we're like right now the same words I'm using, and it causes you to do something really bad. It's like, yeah, I wouldn't see that as a failure. Like a failure is like a thing, and again, I don't know. We've all experienced this. You have a moment in your life where like in this moment, I have a choice between doing like the good thing or the bad thing, right? And going to the store, you never had that moment because you couldn't have possibly known the future, right? So I'm talking about that specific moment where it's like, if I know it's bad to say something mean to Ryan, that means something. I shouldn't do that. If I have that some type of knowledge that this is like a bad thing to do. I'm talking in the moment. I don't know if I'm making sense. Am I making sense? Am I crazy?
Well, we got to parse through the language because you keep using words like bad and wrong. But are we using my semantics or yours? Because when I tell you my semantics, you're saying you're not talking about morality. But that's how I use moral language.
Well, when you say moral language, do you just mean the exact same thing as the way you use? Do you not believe in morality as a dimension, really, in any sense?
What do you mean by morality?
Like, do you because your example of your store, of going to the store, then did you do an immoral action by choosing to go to the store? Maybe that's a helpful question in your mind.
Did I do? No, I wanted to.
But you got mugged. So was it immoral?
That I got mugged? Me getting mugged was immoral, yeah.
No,
I did not want that to happen.
No, was you choosing to go to the store? Was that immoral? Why or why
No.
not?
Because
Why
I
not?
wanted to. Because all that means
It
is
didn't align with your desires. Isn't that why you gave the example? You ended up doing something that didn't align with your
you're
desires.
talking about two different things now. The goal of
That's
wanting
how you-
to. Hold on, where are we getting confused? I want to make myself clear. Where are we getting confused?
I thought you were saying that going to the store was an example of something that you don't want to do, or that is,
No, I
that
do
was
want to
wrong.
do.
No, you do want to do, but it ended up in a bad outcome for you. So therefore,
I failed with respect to that goal. That's all I was saying. Because I got mugged.
Okay.
right? But that
hold
tied
on.
into-
Can I?
Yeah, Alex, bridge the gap. Bridge the gap.
This is not a gap. This is a chasm. Okay. First of all,
It's
goals
something.
are something you can accomplish. All right. You can't call it a goal to not grape someone or not to infringe on someone's bodily autonomy, because that would be a goal for the rest of your life, right?
That
has to
explains
be
why that's not on my goal chart. That explains
that
that part.
has to be like a principle of yours, correct?
Yeah, but then my goal is to
something-
like uphold my principles. So that's why I was saying I value it and I want to uphold those values, right?
But can you break your principles? Are you like?
Sure.
Do you feel like you're diminished in any way by breaking your principles or failing your goal in this case?
Not inherently, but I mean, I guess it would signal that I don't value it as much as I believed. If I mean, or I would have to like compare. Like it would depend. I mean, but yes, I think yeah.
So I guess I'm saying if you're using goals as stand-ins for what I guess religious people consider to be morals, then you're basically saying you can fail those goals but not have done anything immoral. But something immoral had to happen, so someone else may have done the immoral thing that caused you to fail your goal. I'm not sure I understand how that works. I'm mostly talking to Brandon here, I think.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
You said like your goal, you have conflicting goals, so you wouldn't do something, and that's like your sense of morality.
Well, all I mean when I use moral language is I'm just talking about what I prefer and don't prefer, or have a preference against. Yeah.
Okay, but when you say preference, is there any strength to those preferences, or are they all the same?
There are probably different intensities. Let me give an example. I want to drink some water right now, but what's something stronger? If my fiance is about to get shot or something, I really don't want that to happen. That desire for that not to happen is much stronger than my desire to drink this cup of water.
Okay, your desire for your fiance not to get shot, how is that a moral question, or how is that in any way related to morality?
Well, it depends what you mean by morality, because I'm just talking about my meta-ethical stance is I'm an anti-realist, so I'm just talking about my desires, goals, stuff like that.
Okay, so then what do you consider to be immoral in that case? Can you, like, if you fail one of your goals, is that immoral? If you don't succeed in one of your preferences, is that immoral?
Is it immoral? Wait, ask that question again, because by immoral, I'm just going to say if I have a preference against it.
So this is what I mean. This is what
No,
I'm
yeah.
saying.
Hold on.
It's nonsense.
Yeah, I want him to re-ask the question.
Yeah. So let's say you have a goal. Let's make it something like you have a goal to do X tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason you don't get it done. Was that immoral to not do it?
Yeah, I have a preference not to fail, sure.
So you consider it to be immoral to fail in a goal?
If I have a preference against failing, of course. That's all immoral means there.
So then you can judge no one else then. So
I judge people all the time.
well, why? If my goal is to harm as many people as possible, then I did nothing immoral.
He doesn't
That's-
care.
wait,
whether
wait.
Not by your standard, but by his standard,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but no,
By his
but yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I didn't conflict with your fucking goals. I'm on.
I don't want you to do that. I have a preference against that, dude.
You did. You
It's-
What do
literally.
you mean, why not? Do you want a causal explanation of why I have the desires I have?
Okay,
What are you
so
asking?
one of your goals is that someone in a different country doesn't do something that you would never know about otherwise. That's a crazy thing to have as a goal, but I guess sound off.
I mean, if I don't know about it, sure, I don't have a preference against it, but I
Okay,
know about
so-
it now. You told me.
okay, but let's say I don't tell you. Is it wrong? It's not.
Well,
so it's not
and
wrong.
when you say wrong,
you guys are blackpilling me.
Hold on, when you say-
blackpilling me.
you keep loading the language. When you say wrong, you're asking if I have a preference against something, but I don't know the thing's happening.
I'm
But
using
I don't have the
your-
preference.
You said it's the same thing.
Stop.
You said it's
Conklin,
goal related.
Stop. He's saying that your framing for what morality is does not exist in their world. They're
I
using
know.
the next best option, which is a word
I know.
in which wrong does not exactly fit.
I know. That's
Okay.
my whole point. So
I know, but
there is
you can't-
there is nothing against my goals, and Brandon shouldn't have any problem if he doesn't know about it. If I harm an uncountable amount of people in a foreign land, and Brandon never finds out, then Brandon cool with that. It's all Gucci.
That
Well,
that
but
doesn't follow. That doesn't
Well,
follow.
why
By the way.
not?
I think
Why,
Brandon
you
and I
don't
would
know
both.
about it. How
Hang
are
on.
you
I think
cool with
Brandon and
it?
I think
How's
Brandon and
that
I would
being your
both.
goals, Brandon.
I think Brandon and I would both prefer that you don't do that, even if whether we know about it or not.
Well,
How would
can
you-
you?
how would you- hold on.
Yeah. What?
Let's say I don't know.
Hold
right?
on. Can I ask you a
Okay.
question?
Sure.
Would it be immoral if you don't know about it?
Immoral? Are you asking if I had the preference to know about it and I don't know about it?
No.
Okay,
It's
then I don't know what you mean by moral there.
Is what he's doing
Mhm.
immoral by your standards?
And by immoral, hold on. By immoral, are you?
I mean in the way that we consider to be morality, like a bad thing as a
No.
universal.
What does bad mean? Are you talking about my preferences
yes,
or not?
he has a preference against you doing that, whether even if he doesn't know about it. I think.
Do you have a preference against people like mass murder? Do you have a preference against mass murder that you're not aware of?
Do I have a preference that I'm not aware of? Maybe.
No.
I do, yes.
Against actions that happen that you're not aware of them happening, but
Yes.
the preference is that they don't happen at all, ever, anywhere.
I'm sorry, I am not following that question.
So like there's mass shootings, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know about them at the time they're happening.
Sure.
You can't know about them at the time they're happening.
Sure.
Do you consider them to still be bad in that moment, regardless of whether you know they're happening or not?
What do you mean by bad?
I mean, would they be against your preferences? That they happen?
Doesn't
at all?
align with your goals, Brandon.
Yeah, I would have a preference against that.
Well, that's what I mean by bad. Why do you keep asking what I mean by bad?
Because I want to make sure we're not smuggling in realist talk. That's all.
I'm
the only one smuggling in realist talk, okay?
Yeah.
Not Alex.
I mostly understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to get I'm trying to expose some of it to Confluence here because he's not. I think his mind is
understand.
Like,
I just think it's fucking insane.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
What's the critique though? What's the critique?
Yeah, I'm also curious.
Wait, I want to hear the
feel
critique
very
though.
similar.
What is insane about it?
You're asking me, I'm assuming, right? Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah. Okay, I think. Okay, I guess I'm using insane as a stand-in for. I'm not saying it's philosophically inconsistent. Even like I guess maybe I should back up and put my fifis aside for a second. Okay, but never my spiritual intuition, which are very different things. But maybe I should back up. Like philosophically, I can totally understand like a nihilistic framework. It just sounds to me that I don't know if you can still hear me, Brandon. I trust that you can. Always be trusting. Okay, there we go.
Yeah,
he can hear. Okay, yes. To me it sounds like insane amount of nihilism, but I don't actually think nihilism is like philosophically incoherent. I think it's a terrible worldview, but I'm smuggling realist stuff in, and I am doing that, you know. But philosophically, yes. Can I critique your nihilism? I think it is nihilism, and I think why not just say, yeah, I'm a nihilist, and I actually don't think there's any such, like, it feels like you're doing everything to say you're not a moral nihilist, and it feels like you're dancing around a bunch of issues, and just say it. At least it's philosophically consistent instead of like pretending that like you would actually be somehow goal harmed if you didn't know and I went off into a foreign country and hurt all these women, that you would somehow your goals or your desire, like it's fucking mental gymnastics. Just say you're a nihilist.
I
don't think it's that crazy.
How is it mental gymnastics? You ask me straightforward questions. I give you a straightforward answer. Yes, I have a preference against that. Yes, I would prefer that, and that's all I mean by good and bad. And it depends. It also hold on.
I guess because then if you say no, then that's where the mental gymnastics come in. If you are a nihilist, then cool.
By nihilist, do you just mean that when I use moral language, I'm using it in a subjective way? Then sure, I'm a nihilist in that sense. But I thought nihilists thought like values, both subjective and objective, don't exist. I don't accept that. If that's what you mean by nihilist.
But by values, you only mean stuff that you desire and align with your goals.
Exactly.
I would say that's
things
a
I care about.
nihilist.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say that's a nihilist with extra fucking steps. That's what I would say.
Oh, sure. Then yeah. By in that sense, I am a nihilist. Sure.
Same.
Okay, two nihilists. Okay, at least I understand. At least I understand. I still disavow. Yeah, but Alex, sound off.
All right. So, what do you guys do when you have conflicting preferences?
I deliberate and I think about other things that I value, and I try to come to some sort of conclusion based on the values I have.
Or I just, wait till the moment where it's too late for me to deliberate anymore, and I just have to go with my gut, I guess. Yeah.
You know what? Fuck all that, dude. I flip a coin. That's what I do.
It's like when I'm
In
ordering
true
food, you know, I
absurdist
like
nature.
wait until the
So,
moment I'm
hold
being
on,
asked
hold
by the
on,
waiter.
hold on. So then, do you believe that the ends justify the means?
And well, that's normative ethics. In some cases, maybe. In other cases, no. I'm not a strict
Yeah.
utilitarian.
Well, I mean, if you have a very, very strong preference for something, and someone is stopping you from succeeding in that preference through something you consider to be very anti whatever you think is like bad. For example, you don't like people infringing on bodily autonomy, right? That's a preference you have for yourself, at least. Do you care if other people do it? I'm sure. So
Generally
if somebody
speaking,
else is doing something you consider to be extraordinarily bad, you would consider doing something about it, correct?
Oh yeah, definitely. Hmm.
Okay. So then if you had to do something to somebody else to stop that person, are you still okay with it?
Depending on the context, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not in every case, but yeah.
Yeah, it would depend. Yeah.
Okay. So like let's say there's a country like on the precipice of falling into totalitarianism, right? How far would you feel comfortable going to stop something like that?
To stop totalitarian, what would that entail? Like another Holocaust or something? Or are we just talking about like?
Probably, yeah.
Oh,
I
then
mean,
yeah, I would.
You can't ever know the future, but that's the way it's tending, right?
Oh, sure. I mean, if something like that would happen, I would send the military, dude. Sure.
Ryan, you?
Yep, potentially. I'm not like anti-interventionalist inherently. Yeah, I think there might be some cases. There are some cases where military action is the right thing to do. Yeah.
Based Ryan. Rare Ryan
What about
W.
based me, dude? I said it first. What the fuck?
He did
but I
say it
said-
first.
Yeah, but I expect more from Brandon than I do from Ryan. No
Whatever, dude,
disrespect to
whatever.
Ryan, but me and
gonna say,
Ryan
please.
rarely
Hold on.
agree. We
Hey,
rarely
hold on,
agree.
Ryan.
so-
Underestimate me at your own peril.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. I'm not sure how to phrase the things that I'm trying to think of asking you. So give me a little bit. You guys can keep going on.
Okay,
whatever.
I have a question because I think Brandon has kind of deep throated that black pill in a bad way, but I don't think Ryan actually has. I don't think Ryan has.
What's the black
Because-
pill that you think he's swallowing here?
The nihilistic stuff. Like you both did say under at least what I described as nihilists, right? You both said, okay, yeah, we're nihilists, okay? And I
Yeah,
think
by
Brandon,
the definition you provided. Yeah.
yes, and I think Brandon is, because I think what Brandon would say, I think if I'm understanding right, is that he thinks that from his desires, he wouldn't want me to do a bunch of bad stuff, but objectively, or from my point of view, there's nothing bad with me. If I set that as my goals, if I wake up in the morning, I say harm as many women and disenfranchise them, then that's my goal. And Brandon, I think, wouldn't say there's anything objectively wrong with that. And from my point of view, certainly nothing wrong with that. Is that right, Brandon?
Well, I'd be agnostic about the objective part. I don't say objective morality is like false or something. I'm just agnostic about it. I just talk about how I use the language. I don't make very
Okay.
strong claims about stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I feel
I
like-
also
and-
I feel like when I hear the word objective in that context, I feel like I think I get suspicious of other things being smuggled in. But like if I could yield that or I could like acknowledge that there are things that that are like I guess like universally bad or practically universally bad, and I might say those
Okay,
are like
see?
objectively bad. But I don't know that that's like I don't think I'm doing like
I'm not-
moral realism there.
Yeah, I'm not trying to. I mean, look, sometimes I try to smuggle stuff in, but right now I'm actually not trying to. I think there is a difference. I think Ryan, if I had these goals and I told you I'm going to go harm all these people and I do want to, do all this bad stuff and these are my goals, I think you would say that is actually bad. And it's not just bad from your point of view. I think you would say that it's actually a bad thing.
But what
Yeah.
is actually doing there?
Yeah, like
It
feels
just sounds like
when you
you're
say it's-
smuggling in realism again.
when you say it's bad from my
I'm
perspective,
honestly-
like I agree with Brandon. Like it is
Is
something
it-
that's
is it
against
bad
my
for- is
preferences.
it-
I don't like saying that
Is it
it's
only
bad from
if
my
you
perspective.
died,
And
if
hang
you
on,
died, Ryan. Okay, if you died, is it still bad? Is it bad? Because now you're not there. You have no preferences. My preferences, they're dead, right? So now is it
I would
bad
prefer. I
that
would
I'm
prefer
going
for
to these
yes.
countries and doing
I
bad
still have
things to
preference.
women?
Yes, because I have preferences about how I would like
You
things
have
to be
preferences
posthumously. Yeah, of course.
You're
like
immortal?
like for example, if I had children, like I don't have children, right? But if I did, I would want them to like have good lives after I'm gone, right?
You want that now. You don't want that in 200 years, Ryan, because you don't exist in 200 years.
Sure, but I still want. I want that future. Sorry.
This line of attack is no better than me saying the same thing to you.
Wait, how and what? No. Disavow. This is first of all not a line of attack. First of all, I'm just trying to. It's not intending to be. It's not. It's actually not.
Nihilism
I'm trying to say that. I'm trying to say that I think Brandon is actually more of a nihilist. I don't actually believe that Ryan is. So I'm not attacking either. Again, I think nihilism is a philosophically coherent position. And
how do people say that? What?
I personally think it is. No, I actually do think it is. I actually like truly.
Who cares if it's coherent? It doesn't matter. That's immaterial.
I don't. Maybe you're thinking I mean something different by coherent. I mean, nihilism is I think is a totally fair philosophical position that I think explains everything about the universe that you could want it to. Right. I truly think that from all realms, in ontology and morals, I think it. So it's fully consistent.
This is interesting.
But
I
don't think Ryan is that. I don't think he is
something?
because. Okay,
I feel like you bring up a lot of you talk about like virtue ethicist and or nihilist or we brought up like utilitarianism and all these things, and I feel like you are kind of speaking of these things as if in terms of like selecting one and then decide and then like evaluating things based on which one we've selected rather than the other way around, which is what I feel is happening here, where like we're describing things that we do believe and feel, and then you're attaching a label that you think it like is fitting to that. And it feels like a fundamental like different thing. That's I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I can word it correctly like in the moment, but I feel like there's like a fundamentally different thing going on here.
I mean, I'm not trying to. I mean, you tell me. I'm not trying to pigeonhole you. I guess the reason I'm using labels is because I guess I'm trying to understand on what. So I'm not trying to like pin you down in that way. I'm just trying to parse it in my own head from what I know of meta ethics and stuff to see what frameworks everyone has. So yeah, when I use nihilist, it's like I know what that means, and I have an idea of like, okay, I can grasp that, and I know what goes along.
But when you said that Brandon was a nihilist, and then he asked you like if all you mean by that is that like, oh, I believe that like I'm basically like a moral anti-realist, and that I believe that like my morals are like my moral preferences are just my preferences. Like what I think is good is just my preferences. What I think is bad are things that I would prefer not happen. Right. And he asked you if that's what you mean by nihilist, and you're like, yes. And then it's like, okay, but every time you use it, I feel like
all moral subjectivists are nihilist on your view.
But like nihilism, I mean, like my understanding is like some like nihilism is often like part of like a terroristic ideology in some sense. Like it's like there's like nihilistic terror and stuff. There's a lot of negative implications that are attached to that word.
No, I'm not. Look, I'm not trying to load anything into that at all. Absolutely not. Disavow. In fact, if you're doing I would say if you're doing a terror attack, you're probably definitionally not a nihilist because you really care about doing that terror attack, so you at least to some degree you believe in something that you're doing, so
maybe you think life has no purpose and no value and it should just go away.
But then you'd be like an antinatalist, which at least is more than a nihilist, I guess, because you at least have some goal in mind. There's some I see. I think I see your point. Yeah, look. Yeah, I mean, I feel like semantic overload is happening in I think every single word that's being used, and I don't know how to avoid that. Really, I'm not trying to introduce that overload into the conversation.
Well,
but
when you
it seems
say
unavoidable.
that you feel like Brandon is a nihilist and you feel like Ryan's not quite a nihilist, like what is it you're describing there?
Well, okay, well that's what I was saying. I would say that Ryan, I think that you would say that even if you didn't know about what I was doing, that you would still say what I'm doing is wrong and not just from your point of view. I think you would say if I'm trying to disenfranchise women, I don't think, and you tell. I mean, if I'm wrong, then you tell me I'm wrong, and that's fine.
Yeah,
He's
I
saying
would
you think
prefer you
things-
not do
It's
that.
wrong anyway.
Yeah, I would prefer
He's
you not
saying-
do that.
Well,
Is
he's
that
saying
all
he
you're
thinks.
saying?
Yeah, he thinks you're saying that there are things that are wrong independent of your preferences.
Yes, I don't think the way you speak, Ryan, the way the passion you have for all the debates we've had, I don't believe that you just think, oh, this is just Ryan's preferences. I
Why
think
can't a
well,
subjectivist or an anti-realist have that same sort of passion, dude? I'm fucking vegan. What are you talking about?
Yeah. First of all, yeah,
That's 'cause
but
you're-
also
I think it's 'cause
like
your
I
preference, Brandon.
It is.
like I mean I speak fervently is maybe the word because I value certain things strongly. Like I have very strong preferences about certain things. Like,
But you'd say they're all. So you're actually saying they're all preferences.
yeah, I
It's
think they're
all-
shared.
it's
I think they're
all just-
preferences that are
Ryan.
shared by a lot of people
And you
for
s-
like
Ryan.
for various reasons,
And
right?
you
Like there's
still haven't
over.
looked into emotivism, have you? Even though I ask you every
Stop.
time I fucking talk to you to look into emotivism, you still
Maybe I never will, or maybe I'll do it right now. Who knows?
God damn it!
Hey, Ryan. So I got a question for you. Do you think some preferences
Yeah.
are better than others?
Say it again. Sorry.
Do you think some preferences are better than other preferences?
Or
are they all just preferences to the same degree?
when you say better, like there. Are you asking me if there are preferences
preferences
that I would
Yep, ask
prefer
him.
people to have?
You're on the right track, Ryan. Do it.
What?
Like there are preferences I would prefer people have. Yeah.
Okay. But is
Are
it
you
wrong if they
loading
don't
the
have
term
them?
better, Alex? But what are you smuggling in stuff?
Yeah, well, it's not.
with
It's not that.
better?
I'm just.
Wait,
when I hear
wait,
better in
what
this
do you mean by
context,
it?
like I feel I hear it as you're just asking me if there are things that I would preferences I would prefer people to have, and yes, of course.
Well, not necessarily prefer, but everyone should have.
Yeah, I feel like those sound like the same statement to me. Like should by my like that is like as in they'd be manifest.
Should in this
yeah.
case is a moral claim. It's a
Yeah. Are
it's
there
an
any
objective
moral
claim that
odds?
something is better if everyone believes it. You're no longer in the
I would
subjective
prefer
realm
it.
if you're gonna
I
go
feel like
shit.
we're trying. I feel like we're trying to separate the moral dimension from the preference dimension, and
We are. That's the whole point.
But I understand that you're trying to do that, but I guess I don't. I'm having a hard time finding that difference. I think is why I lean towards what Brandon's saying.
Okay, why? If I
Well,
can,
hold on,
Alex.
hold on. I
Okay,
prefer
fine.
chocolate over vanilla. That's a preference, but there's no morality within that preference.
That's the whole thing. Brandon has said openly those are the same things, right, Brandon? I don't want to mischaracterize you. You said those are the same, right? And yeah, my whole point is I don't think Ryan does think those are the same thing.
Well, I feel like morals. I guess generally when we talk about morality, I guess I do feel like we're talking about like a subset of my preferences.
The silence.
Like because we're usually not.
Yeah, you could do that. You could categorize like something isn't doesn't fall within the realm of morality, whatever you want to say, until it reaches like a certain threshold of intensity for that desire. So maybe you could have different categories of preferences, like you can distinguish between taste preferences and then moral preferences based on that sort of intensity of that desire. You could
guess
do
what-
that.
I guess what I'm saying is, like, if you really, really, really love vanilla, and I choose
Oh,
to
yeah.
bring you chocolate anyways.
Oh,
I don't
dude, we're
think there's-
fighting.
Well, that's fine, but I don't think there's any level of consideration or any level of love for vanilla that could have you say that it was immoral of me
Well,
to get you chocolate instead of vanilla.
Maybe not the love of
And that's
vanilla,
where-
but maybe the
where
dislike for
morality
mint
is.
chocolate chip. Right? I might be like angry if I expect vanilla ice cream and someone brings me a bowl of nasty ass
You
mint
can
chocolate
be
chip ice cream.
angry, but would you
Yeah.
call it immoral?
Actually, I actually think
If they know, do
disagree
they know
with
that
you,
I hate mint
Alex.
chocolate chip?
Yeah, I actually think I'm Ryan
Then-
coded on this one, where it's like I think if you do know someone's true preference and you care about them, and then you did buy them the opposite, I think then in some ways that could be an immoral act.
How would that be an immoral act?
Well, like
if I took your money and said I would get it for you and I don't, that's a different thing than if I get something for you and it turns out to be the thing you don't like.
Okay,
Whether I knew you liked it or not.
think okay, so not in a relationship currently, but have been in the past. And if my partner knows, let's say I hate chocolate, and they're like, "Hey, I bought you ice cream," and they know I fucking hate chocolate, and they know I love vanilla, and they're like, "Here," and it's a shot. It would be like, yeah, I think if they know, it's like, well, why are you fucking ice cream cucking me like that? Like, what are you doing? Like, why would you do that?
So hold on,
I think that would be immoral.
By your standards, that would go against God or something. That'd be
yes. If they intended to cause me harm, they know they emphatically know this, and they're making a decision at the counter to be like, yeah, fuck Confluence, I'm gonna buy him chocolate. He's gonna fucking hate it. I would say that is immoral. I actually would.
Well, I guess I might not say that if somebody mistakenly brings me an ice cream that I don't like. I see. I think that's the more that's the question. Maybe you're probing me at. Like I might not say that's immoral. Like even though it's against my preferences.
Strongly against your preference. Be very strongly against your preferences. Wouldn't? Why is it not immoral? If preferences. No,
it's an interesting question. I think this just makes it this makes a stronger case for what I was saying earlier, where it's like I have a lot of preferences. Some of them are for flavors, and some of them are for behaviors and values, and that I want people to have. And like I think it's just like when we have conversations about morality, like I guess we're usually clearly not talking about just like flavor preferences, like taste, but like we are. I do feel like we're talking about preferences and like behaviors and yeah.
Sure, but you might have a preference that someone behaves a certain way and they don't, but that may not be immoral.
Yeah, but I feel like all we're doing is like shrinking the subset around, which is fine. Like I just want to be clear, that's what's happening, right? Like I feel like we're not.
Yeah, of course, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay, well then, yeah, we're narrowing in on the preferences that I describe as like moral preferences, I guess. But this is the critique I had when you guys were talking earlier, and I wasn't on here. You guys were saying that it's just preferences, it's your goals and preferences, but it's not. There's certain preferences that you consider be a moral ought, and there's certain preferences that you don't really care about because they're just your preference. You don't care how anyone else acts with regards to them, right? And those preferences can be broken. Those goals can be broken without an immoral act happening. But by definition, that's not morality. That can't be morality. Well, wait, I feel like there's not a contradiction there in like saying that like those are still my preferences. They're just not like, it doesn't mean all my preferences are like moral questions. It just means that like the moral questions are rooted in my preferences.
How do you delineate? Well, okay, so your morality is a distinct thing. It's just you have preferences that apply to it rather than actual, like, you think that something is universally wrong. You just think it's wrong because you don't like it, and since most of society seems to agree with you, you can say that that's probably a good thing that everyone believes in.
Yeah, but I also might say that like I might have a conversation about what's happening in like the moral question that we're exploring, like what the implications of it are, like what's happening to people, and like what are the things, like we might try to identify the specific things that I find like undesirable, right? Sure. But it still it still just comes down at the end of the day. I feel like it just reduces to preferences, I guess is what we're.
That's why I don't make a delineation. It's just a word to me. Like if you want to call it moral, if you just want to say want or desire, this is it's just a word. But I'm conveying the same concept. That's why I don't delineate. But like I said, people do delineate subjectivists between moral preferences, taste preferences, aesthetic preferences. Some people do make those distinctions. I just don't care to.
But you've rendered that word. You've rendered the entire concept of morality mute. Because you're using a single word that means anything from I like this color to I prefer you don't kill me, as a set of as in the same like language as the term morality. And I think when we talk about ethics, we definitely don't talk about preferences. I don't know why we do the same thing with morality.
Well, we do if you're a subjectivist specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what subjectivists are talking about.
You would prefer like a certain ethical framework or whatever, right?
Well, what do you think? Like, how do you define ethics?
The study of what we ought and ought not do, something like that.
I don't wait. If I could, I don't think that subjectivism has to entail that. I don't, because what you're saying is there's no dimensionality distinction between a preference and a moral. I don't think that goes beyond what I know of subjectivism, right? Like I could be a subjectivist and still distinguish between a preference and what I think I'm doing that's morally wrong. Even if I think it's just morally wrong for myself, I could still put those in two different dimensional categories, right?
Sure, you can, but you can do that as a subjectivist. All a subjectivist is.
You can.
I don't remember.
It's not the same thing. It's not saying the lack of dimensionality between those things does not mean. It's not tantamount with, oh, I'm a subjectivist. You're like a subjectivist, but you also see no dimensionality between a preference and anything that's ethical.
Are you saying I don't?
Yeah. I'm saying you don't. You've defined those things as the same, but I'm saying that's not the exact same. You're a subjectivist plus. You're a subjectivist, and you also think that there's no dimensionality between your flavor of ice cream and if someone gets graped or not. It's just degrees, but it's not on a different dimension, right?
Sure, I think I understand what you're saying. And just to be clear, it's been a while since I've looked at it, but there's like 2 or 3 conditions that you have to meet for to be a subjectivist. You have to think moral propositions are actually truth apt, so they can be true or false. And what makes those propositions true is something stance dependent, like a desire. So that's all it really means to be a subjectivist.
Like a desire, but not equaling a desire. So that's the distinction, right? It's like that.
No. It doesn't have to be a desire. It just has to be something that's stance dependent.
Right, but I guess I'm trying to say Brandon he's a subjectivist, but he is a very nuanced type of subjectivist, which I would call a nihilist. But subjectivism itself, I could be a subjectivist and still differentiate between a preference and a moral thing. I guess that's my whole point. Do you agree with that, Brandon? Like, I could still hold subjective morality, and I think it's in my opinion, but I could still see a total different world between what I like and what I think is actually right or wrong for me to do.
Sure, yeah, you can make those delineations as a subjectivist, of course.
Okay.
It's still going to be rooted in a stance. That's the thing.
Yeah,
like I would argue that. I would argue it's rooted in a preference for some framework to evaluate right or wrong.
I
think you could say something like that.
I think you can, but I think that's where, and I feel like no one agreed with me on this, but I feel like when we're using preference like that, we start to just that's the same type of thing that people say that where free will, almost definitionally can't exist. Like, I think we're reducing things so much that we're like, well, any action you do was to your highest desire, like definitionally. So even if I don't want to do this action, I know it's wrong to unalive this person, but I do it anyway. Well, my highest desire was to unalive them. So actually I'm always acting in accordance with my highest preference. So it just becomes reductionistic at a certain point. You know what I mean? Which is fine. Like there's not a problem with that, but I'm just
in most of my philosophy, I'm very deflationist, reductionist, anti-realist, so that makes sense.
Almost nihilistic if you had to maybe pick a word.
No, I just don't like an inflated ontology, okay? I like parsimony, I like things being simple.
You want to reduce everything to where it's maybe, let's say, 0 as an example, right? Like it's like nothing, like everything is nothing.
Okay, maybe, get this guy out of here.
Which is fine. I think it's consistent. I don't like it, but I think, Big Soda, go ahead.
God,
you've been silent, so sound off, Big Soda.
I just been listening. I've been kind of. I didn't want to interrupt. I mean, I thought the conversation was pretty good. How do you establish your hierarchy of preferences? Is it just what you preference more? so it's like a degree. How do you determine the ultimate preference? Like, what's the one preference above all?
Well, I don't know if well, for one, I don't know if I have a preference like that. And for two, I'm not sure if I actually determine my preferences. Sure, I may like deliberate on the things that I want, don't want, things like that. But I'm not sure if here I'm compatible, so I guess I can. Just can you repeat your question one more time? I lost it with my rambling.
No, you're good. Like, so if there's a hierarchy of preferences that you prefer, I guess how would you delineate what are the higher preferences? So what are the things you prefer more?
Oh, sure. Like, how do I delineate between preferences and what I would prefer more in a given context? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. So it's like I think that is you dying.
Sure. Sure. And I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to hear you, Big Soda. But I mean, I think what I typically do is I deliberate. I try to run intuition pumps, meaning like we do this all the time in vegan debates, abortion debates. We run hypotheticals. We try to see the types of things we would value in a given context. And we run, like I said, those intuition pumps to see if that is actually what we value, because if not, we're just going to run into a contradiction, or maybe we have to bite some bullet with a reductio. So that's kind of my thought process with a lot of issues. I did it recently with what was the case? I don't remember the case. It was a shooting, I think. Am I allowed to say that word? But I did the same thing. Like something.
I don't know. Maybe.
Something happened in the media, and it was big, and there were like two sides of it. And I just took the morally relevant, what I consider to be the morally relevant facts in that given case, and I was trying to come up with hypotheticals to see, well, what is it about this case that makes me come to this conclusion, and would I remain consistent in these other hypotheticals that I'm giving myself? And I try to deliberate to see what I actually value in that given case, and to come to some sort of conclusion about what I actually want in that context. I don't know if that was long and drawn out and if you followed that, but
no. Yeah, that's because I don't want to ask this question if y'all have children. So do y'all have children?
I do, but I don't care. Ask.
It just I just don't want to ask it because it seems a little egregious. So let's say you have two children.
Just ask. Yep.
Okay. So let's say you have two children, and it, like, I guess, and you had to choose one to die. Like, how do you make the hierarchy of preferences to which one dies?
Which one's better at baseball?
Yeah, I think the sad truth is that at the end of the day, I'd probably choose the one I like less.
Okay.
To live or die.
And I mean, that's fair. I mean, I was just trying to, I guess, follow.
I mean, it's a sad answer, but it's a real answer. Like, I mean, I wouldn't feel good about it.
That's crazy. The only right answer to Sophie's choice is to flip a coin. Okay, that's the only. You can't like pick what fucking child you like the best. If you have to pick, you have to leave it up to random chance, right? Come on.
Yeah, I don't know if I would. Maybe I'd flip a coin. Maybe I mean, I might. I guess if I really don't have a preference, if I don't think
could you live with yourself if you like? I know you don't, and I don't have kids either, but I feel like I can imagine I have kids at least. Yeah, I don't think I could. Even if I liked one kid more, I don't think I could live with myself if I picked the kid I liked more. The only way I could live with myself is
either way.
Yeah,
I know, but flipping a coin is something. Regardless. At least it's like that's nothing I can choose, right? Like that's.
But you're choosing to flip a coin. You're choosing to leave it up like to chance instead of like.
Yeah, I would. I
don't know. There's no good way out of this, you know.
No, I mean, there's. I think the whole point of a Sophie's choice dilemma.
If you're choosing to flip a coin, you're just trying to say that you're not strong enough to make the choice yourself, and you want to leave it to something else to make.
Disavow.
Yes,
Disavow.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
No, my choice is that I think it's morally repugnant to choose one child over the other, so I will flip a coin
the one
because
that has the best chance.
Best chance of what?
Surviving whatever the thing is.
Sure.
Now, if you're choosing to if you're choosing to actually kill one yourself because of whatever, then you choose the third option.
Yeah, be a man, dude. Pick which kid you're gonna kill. Be a man.
Yeah, apparently quit. Apparently, yeah, maybe that's cuckfluence right there. I would fucking flip that coin. I'm not fucking picking. I think, in fact, I think it would be immoral to choose according to your preferences. That's how far I would go to say. I would say that would be the immoral option. You can't. That's the one option you can't do is to.
So
pick which
you're
one
saying
like
you would
best.
prefer people
It'll
leave
be
it
the
up to
one
chance.
That will be the one option
Yes.
that guarantees that you hate yourself for the rest of your life. Yeah, that's true.
Is which one?
Choosing the one you like the most.
Oh yeah. Okay,
It's
Alex
the
is
most
confluence coded.
It's the most amount of cognitive dissonance you're gonna have to swallow in your life because you'll have to make it okay somehow, and no one will ever accept it.
Whereas I would say I want to give my kids a 50-50 shot. I'm not gonna be the one to like play God in that situation. Unless, I guess if the one who's gonna survive, if the situation is more, but like if we think of it as like a gunman comes into someone's house right now, it's like so both kids are equally likely to survive, let's say, right? It's not like a war torn
Then you kill the
country.
gunman.
Yeah, if that is an option, then that would probably be the most ethical.
I would acknowledge. I like there. I can imagine. Like, I mean, I don't know. I can imagine deciding to flip the coin as well. Like, where I can be like, oh, I can't make this choice. Like, I'm just saying, like, I can say if I don't have a coin, even right, like, like I don't have any way to make a 50-50 choice. Like, I feel like what would happen is
The problem
probably,
with flipping a coin is whatever answer you get, you're gonna feel either relief or you're gonna feel dread, and you're gonna know that that's not the choice you wanted.
Yeah, but I would say
I would let that feeling guide me. I think I would.
agree, but that's the difference between I think the preferences and the moral. The moral thing, in my opinion, is to flip the coin, and then you still have to live with cognitive dissonance. So I know Quippy's revenge is saying I'm doing it out of cowardice. I don't think I am. I think that's just the moral thing to do, and you have to live with it. And Quippy also says, imagine how the surviving kid feels knowing you chose to flip a coin. Imagine how the kid feels that's about to get pew down, that you're like, I like my other kid better.
Well,
and the look
they're
on
gonna
his
feel
face
dead,
as he gets like
frankly.
craniumed. Imagine how that kid feels. Okay.
You can look at it one of two ways, right? If you choose the kid you don't like the most, you will probably resent them the rest of their lives. And if you choose the one you like the most, you'll resent yourself the rest of your life.
That's why you flip a coin and resent God like a normal person. Okay.
Now, I got another question. How do you pass? I guess. How do you secure your foundation and your preference to your children? So, like, how do you pass down your preference to your kids and then have them enact your same preferences? Does that make sense?
Do you?
I
Do you
think
think your
so.
preferences are better than others?
I may not be grasping
I
right.
think
It's kind of like, how do you instill your values through your preferences to your children?
Yeah, I mean, we do this all the time, right? When we raise our kids, we teach them values that we also value, work hard, be disciplined, that sort of thing. It's the same sort of thing. I don't think there's much of a difference between a realist and an anti-realist in that sense. I think we still want to instill our kids with the values that we want. So I don't think there would be much of a difference there, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Now,
so,
if
hold on.
your kid's acting on what the preferences that you taught him, but it doesn't turn into the same preferences that you have, is your child going against you, or is he still following the same philosophy of his preferences are? I don't know if I'm asking that right.
Well,
if they have your preferences but different goals or goals that contradict with yours,
or they have different preferences, right? Like they end up having different preferences. I mean,
it has to have come from you, right? That's what.
Oh, is that what? Is that?
If they take what you're
like,
telling them, but they use it a way that you consider to be wrong or not to your liking, I guess, if it's all preferences.
And then I guess are they doing something? Because I'm using a loaded word in bad, but
sure.
Well,
like,
it's not loaded as long as you just assume that, like, when we're
that?
answering it, we're saying that it's against our preferences, right? Like that's
But I guess
it sounds definitionally like your question would be against our preferences.
Like to them, what if they still think they're honoring your preference, but to you they are not honoring your preference?
yeah, I might prefer that. I might prefer that they both that either they like recognize that they're not following my preference, or that they just like decide to have a different. Like, I'm not sure. Like I'm not sure how to engage with it. Maybe.
It's tough because I keep wanting to smuggle, I guess, loaded board.
Don't worry about that. Just speak normally, and we'll try to interpret it.
Yeah,
Don't
we'll
worry
do it
about
for
that.
you.
Now,
just it's gonna be really
go
hard
ahead.
not to because you don't think of it the same way. So they'll let you know if they think you're.
Now, if I don't know, I don't think I can do it without smuggling the word good and
It's
which
okay,
would
just
always.
ask. Yeah, it's
Just
fine.
do it.
We-
Just talk
we will
normal. Don't
respond,
worry
yeah.
about us semantic Nazis. Okay, just
But
go
when
ahead.
I do it, everyone calls me out as a smuggler. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
listen,
you're trying to.
because you were being annoying while you were doing it.
Yeah,
Big
you know
Sil is
better.
cool.
So when you're raising your children and they believe that they are doing good based off what you taught them, but in your eyes, it's not the preference you want, are they still doing something that they believe to be good? Are they still doing something to their preference if their preference is to honor your preference?
They may be intending to try to do something good, but they are just failing to do so. If by good we just mean that they're trying to act in accordance with my desire, but they're not. Then they would be just failing in respect to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Could I posit a like a hypothetical, Soto?
Yeah.
Like if let's say you're really big on growing a business and running your stuff and making money and whatever else, and so you teach your kids that. But as you grow older, you realize that that's not the most important thing in life, and your kids act with what they thought you were doing, which is they're harsh, they're hard on people, whatever, right? Almost like a vicious businessman, but it is according to how you taught them. But now you know, like with experience, you've learned that that's not good in your eyes anymore. Something like that.
Yeah.
So what's the question? I'm sorry. Are they doing something wrong? Is that what you're asking?
Well,
I'm just see if I can phrase it in a question. Like, if you want to go, Alexander, I'm going to take a second to think.
Well,
on
I
this.
feel like
I mean,
might,
this topic's a
in that
little bit
situation,
like pay grade.
I might like I might regret not approaching it differently, right? And like I might look back on it and be like, oh well, you know, I have regrets about how I instilled these values, right? Like I taught these things, but I didn't teach this extra factor well enough that like would lead them to realize that there's like more important things than just these things, right? I mean, I could feel that. Yeah, sure. If that answers it.
What I guess, how would you feel about them? Do you think they're doing something immoral in that case?
I probably would in that instance. I would probably put some blame on myself because I'm the one that instilled them with those values.
Well,
Yeah,
sure,
so both,
of course,
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe this is already asked, but what is your preference then higher for your kids to do your preference, or is your preference higher for your kids to do their own moral preference?
That would depend on the preferences. That would depend on their preferences and my preferences.
Some others, some aren't.
Exactly.
But I mean, but whose preferences are you giving precedence to? I guess is it like
Whichever ones I prefer.
Okay, so it is
confluence. If it's his preferences, he thinks it's the right preferences to have.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that would be preferred.
Right. I guess everything reduces to that, though. Right. I
Well,
guess
exactly. I think that's the whole thing. Like that's the point.
It's so
that's being
simple.
made.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's clean. Man, I love it. God,
it is.
it's
It
great.
do be clean. It do be clean.
This,
Kind of
this,
useless.
this
Yes,
will
I
also
agree.
be loaded too. If your preferences that you want for your child are negatively harming your child and have kind of a real life outcome, are your preferences still, I guess, moral
I'm
to
sorry,
you? Are they still?
I'm sorry, Big Side.
Am I
It's,
breaking?
I don't know if it's just me. Yeah, it's just your
So
microphone.
hard to
It's
hear you.
I
You
only
sound
have
like
one
you're inside of a
AirPod.
baking
Mate,
soda right now.
No,
If
it,
your
yeah, it is hard.
preferences are harmful to your child in some way, that's what I got so far out of it.
Yeah, like I think I might prefer to have had different preferences in the you know what I mean? Like I know it sounds, but no, like that's the real answer, right? Like
No, that's fair.
Well, yeah, you might.
Well, I guess you have no realization that your preferences are causing harm to your child, and there's I guess an outcome that's measurable by the fact that your preferences are causing harm to your child, but you're unaware of it. Is your preferences still more under, I guess, my understanding? Like if I'm looking at it from I guess a visible outcome that's happening with your child, you think your child's not committing or ultimately committing to your preferences, but he is ultimately committing to your preferences, but it's having a negative outcome on his life that's measurable. Do you still prefer that?
wait, I'm conscious of this fact that it's leading to negative outcomes for them.
I guess you're unconscious to the fact, or you're not aware of this fact.
Again, I would
If you have a subjective interpretation,
It's having unintended effects that you're not aware of.
Yeah. I mean, I would prefer it not to, right? I know. I mean, I'm not trying to be. I'm like it's kind of funny to
We
repeating
get
it.
what you're saying. You don't have to say. We get it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I'm struggling with trying to ask questions to see if I can, I guess, put y'all in a situation that contradicts what you're saying. But I'm
well. Let me go a step further, right? Sorry, Alex. Go ahead. I'll save it. I'll save it for a minute.
No. Go. You say.
Well, frankly, I am of the belief personally that everybody is doing what I'm describing here. I think we're all doing this preference thing. I think it all reduces down to preferences every time. I think that's what's happening.
Emotivism, Ryan.
Maybe it is. Yeah, sure.
No,
if that's what you mean by that word.
Emotivism.
So
Emotivism, yes.
I think you're wrong in that. I guess let me ask you something. Is there any line that you would never cross, no matter what other preferences you might have or how strong they are?
Wouldn't that be his highest preference, though, is to never cross that line?
Maybe.
Like, that's the thing. It would be a competing preference. Like, I would prefer not to cross that line. So it's. I don't know if we found like a semantic trap here, or if it's just like
irrefutable. Great word. I love that for my position.
So for example, right?
I do agree with that.
We live in a world where we can't know the future, so we don't really know what's going to happen next. We can predict, we can have all these ideas, whatever, but we don't know. Things can change at any moment, right? So we don't have perfect knowledge of what's going to happen. But we still have to make choices about how we handle certain things, right? Which is why typically you have principles that you stand on regardless of what your preferences are. In the case of like the United States, we're supposed to stand up for the principles of freedom and like freedom of speech, freedom of the press, whatever, those things, regardless of how harmful they might end up being in any moment or what the future might bring because of them. Do you have anything like that in terms of your own preferences, where even if it might end up becoming a totalitarian dictatorship that results in the next great genocide, would you still not cross that line?
I don't have principles. I'm a particularist.
I'm on a lot of work and study.
I'm not sure.
I think
I don't know.
This is kind of one of those questions of like, does a society that gives up their humanity to preserve themselves deserve to survive?
Well, I mean, it's an interesting question, but I'm struggling to see how it like really argues with.
I'm not trying to argue against anything. I'm trying to dig further into your beliefs.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I'm not
sure.
Don't look for any like victory conditions here. I'm just trying to understand
No,
or
fair.
expand on what it is that how you see the world. It's like the question earlier where I said, do the ends justify the means? Would you torture a 1-year-old to make the rest of the world
Yes.
peaceful? Things like that, right?
Sorry, too early.
I
guess
there a line that you just can't cross, regardless of how big of a good effect it might have?
I'm sure there is. I don't have like
Maybe something to do with family. Maybe.
yeah. I'm I don't know. I'm not a particularly violent person, so like the idea of like having to, I mean, like I'm not pacifist either, but like yeah, I don't know. I think there's definitely things that I just like probably like wouldn't do. Yeah, if that's the like even if like the outcomes would ultimately be preferable, right? Like I'm sure.
Not just preferable, but if the outcome of not doing it would be horrific anyways.
I think still yes, I might like I might believe that it would be better if I did act, but then still not. Like I can imagine that.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Would you commit something? Would you commit something you don't prefer if every other preference you have after is allowed?
Say that one more time.
I don't think I get that.
Okay, I may have said it bad.
No. Say it again. I just didn't hear you.
Thank you so much, Baxter Boy.
Would you commit something you don't prefer if that means every preference after would be accepted?
I mean, like make one thing you don't prefer, if everything after that would be good, or you would prefer.
Yep.
So just it's the one last bad action you have to do to attain all of your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, there might be like lines that I don't.
I mean, it's kind of like this question,
cross,
right?
But sure.
Actually, what was everyone's stance on this? Would you
torture a child for world peace?
Yeah, where'd we land on this one?
I'd have to think about it. Honestly, I don't. I would seriously consider it. Yeah.
I prefer somebody else to do it for me.
Definitely.
Nope, it has to be you. That's the point.
Yeah.
I'm a virtue ethicist, so I couldn't do it.
Like what's that Batman scenario where Joker put bombs on both boats, and he told them that the criminals have a bomb and the other civilians have a bomb, right?
Mm.
Right. In that moment, both sides chose not to do it, which was insane.
And I think with hypotheticals like that, it's hard to predict my preferences in that case. I actually don't know what I would do. I think it's very hard to predict my preferences. But Quippy, I got a question for you. Would you do that to prevent 1 billion babies from being tortured? That's my counter.
Nope.
Okay, so you're pro billion baby torture. Amazing.
Wow. I'm exposed.
Wow, dude. Crazy.
Is there a scale for that? Would you torture all the children that are allowed to?
Unless they want to stop buffering me, Cody. Babies. Then probably, if my choices are those two things, then I choose a third option.
I mean, the sheer amount of time it would take to torture 1 billion babies. I mean, who's got time to do that? It's too much.
You do in this hypothetical. You have all the time.
Somebody just lines them all up on little stretch things, and you just have to turn a wheel, you know?
Exactly. You just press a button, dude.
It'd be exhausting still. It'd just be exhausting.
I understand it being exhausting. No.
It wouldn't align with my preference of just like being fatigued, I think, you know?
I guess. So the reason why most people don't, like, at least I don't consider morality to be preference-based is because I have a lot of preferences that I would do something, but I don't do them because I think it's immoral to do it, even if I can get away with it, even if I wouldn't feel bad about it afterwards. I still think it's a line I don't want to cross because
I agree, but this is why I was pulling out the capitalist chart in vain earlier, because the easy counter I think would just be, well, your preference to do the morally right thing is higher than your preference to do what you want in that moment. Like, which I disagree with that, but that would be the counter, right? Unless you do see these things dimensionally different, which, you know, you and me, I think we do, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what
literally,
the defeater is.
Like
of
from
that.
my perspective, it feels like you like and this is what I always tell, like, because a lot of times when I'm arguing with like the Christian nationalist types who talk, like they'll always be like, so your morals are just your preferences, and I'm like, well, yeah, but so are yours. You're just, your preference is to follow like this specific set of rules, right? And I feel like that's also true of if you have a moral framework that you work in, like your preference is to follow that, even if like it conflicts with some other preference in the moment. Like there's like that like leading, like you prefer to follow that ultimately. Like I guess that's what it feels like.
Well, this is why I would say philosophically, I don't think there is a counter to it. And that's why I think the experiential thing is the only counter, because I think intuitively, I mean, I guess it obviously.
So what you're saying is I won the debate.
Well, no. I'm saying I think it's a consistent position. It's coherent, the trigger, Alex. It's coherent. But at the same time, it's like,
consistency
yes, I
isn't
think
necessarily good. So.
The strongest, well, it's not. You're right, and I think your position is very not good, but it is consistent. But my appeal would be on a more intuitive basis, not a philosophical basis, because I think any question anyone could ask is always going to be reduced to, well, yeah, my higher preference is to do this, but intuitively, I don't want to say we all know, because maybe we don't all know.
I think he froze.
Okay, I was about to say, is that me or okay?
His Chrome crashed out again, I'm guessing.
I bet he would have preferred for that to not happen.
Yeah, that was immoral.
I bet that was immoral as hell. Okay, here's a question I have. Do you think your preferences are something you choose or something you discover?
They're probably. I mean, I don't have a strong view about this, but if I had to lean some sort of way, they're probably causally explained.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably like a bit of both, I guess, but maybe like they're like when you choose something, like I feel like you are expressing a preference by doing that. So it's like you're describing it, like you're pointing to different we're looking at different preferences that are kind of competing, I guess.
Well, like let's say there's a food you don't like. Can you just decide to like it?
No, but you could decide to like keep trying it and hope that like eventually it tastes different, or like somebody cooks it differently or something. But maybe that's not really addressing the question.
My internet just absolutely ate shit, so I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Is what happened? Did that go against your preference just now? Was that evil?
It did. I don't know. I guess no one could hear me, but I was a little raging out. Okay.
Were you cursing out God?
No, not God. But
it was his fault.
Actually, I thought it was more likely that all of you lost internet connection at the same time, because I could still see myself, so I was cursing out everyone else. But it might have. There's a chance it was my internet, not everyone else's internet. But okay, I don't mean to interrupt, but I do at the same time, but not in a bad way. But I was trying to ask something, if I can remember. I was saying, I guess what does everyone think about that? I think philosophically, I don't know if there's any defeater, because it's always, like Ryan said when he debates Christian nationalists, you can always just say your higher preference is this. But I would appeal to the intuition of the ice cream thing is just. I don't want to say feels different, because I mean intuition, but there is, I think, a difference when I say I don't want a child to be harmed versus I prefer this. And I think Brandon, from what I'm understanding, thinks that's just an order of magnitude of preferences, but I would say they're on different dimensions. And I don't have a good philosophical argument for that, but I would say intuitively, I think we know that.
Well, isn't it just as reasonable or just as intuitive to say like these are just like a more specific kind of preference? Like I don't see a problem. I don't see why that's like a bad thing. Why people are like resistant to that. I think
because you've eradicated the term moral or preference into something that it could mean anything within a range of things. Where typically preference is a very soft word. Like I have a preference for this. Not like I really like it this way, not I love this. I have a preference for it. And preferences are like, oh, I could take it, I could leave it, right? that's not really a strong statement of how you would feel about something. It's not something you would condemn somebody for breaking your preferences.
Yeah,
But you have certain preferences you might kill for. So
Yeah.
you know.
No, but,
Yeah,
but
and I
again,
think
I,
that-
like, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I'll just quickly say, yeah, I think this can just be explained by the intensity of that desire. Like, you really don't want somebody to unalive your mom or something, right? But you don't care if you don't like mint chocolate chip. If somebody you know gets that, you might think like, yeah, that's kind of gross, right? I prefer not to eat that, but I don't really care. I think that can be just explained by the intensity of that desire.
It's not intensity. I mean, you
He's
may-
frozen again.
Yeah, I think so. I think
More like
it's hard to tell 'cause
Confrozens.
these- No, Confrozens. I like that.
Now, I think I already know the answer to this question, but how do you determine the threshold of what's an acceptable preference and what's not an acceptable preference?
You sound like Kenny.
He does a little bit. That's funny.
My bad.
No, you're good.
No, it's good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. We like Kenny. Kenny dies in every episode, but we like it.
That's right.
Remember, I control the fate of heaven and earth in the PSP.
I didn't catch anything. you
I'm
said.
trying so hard, man. I have no idea what you're saying.
You sound like you're speaking into the wrong microphone. I don't know if you have a different one. If it's
I'm
plugged in
on the
somewhere.
phone, so I may have to drop out and come back in. Do y'all hear me fine now?
No,
I'd wait till he comes back.
Are you on your phone?
I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
said, yes.
Do you have an iPhone or do you have an Android? What do you have?
Oh my god.
I have
Okay,
it.
sorry.
Oh, okay. I was going to say if you have because what I do with at least my phone is the wired headphones that used to come with the iPhones. I still have those. If you have something like that, that might really help.
Why don't you lend him yours?
I'm gonna drop down and come back up and see if that helps.
Sure.
What did I miss? I don't want to be out of the fucking loop. I don't want to be out of the
You
fucking
missed.
loop.
You missed us trying desperately to decode what Big Soda was saying and failing.
Look, I speak Big Soda Bad Mike, so I could have helped with that.
You
probably,
do.
you know.
I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, Quippy wants me to
I'd
ask
say-
this random thing, I guess. I'm not sure if this relates or not. I mean, someone tell me, do you think stealing from a company or an individual makes you less immoral? I feel like it's a random moral question, but, a fair question nonetheless.
How do I sound now?
A little
it's-
better.
Yeah,
like you
it's
sound a
it's
bit
A little
better, yeah.
better.
Yeah.
no, it's more
No,
clear.
yeah,
I can
yeah,
understand you
that's
now.
better
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess the question I posed was where do you how do you set the threshold of what's an acceptable preference? Like, it's okay for someone to have this preference versus it's not okay to have this preference.
Are you,
And I
just to
think
make
I know the answer, but I just want to.
are you
I
just
think the answer is preference.
well?
The
Are you
answer is
asking?
always preference. I feel
Well,
like
are
for
you
all
asking? Are you asking like the difference between taste? Let's just say taste preference, and somebody murdering somebody. How do we delineate
Yeah.
between the moral and non-moral preference? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, there's different people that take this view. Some people just say it's some sort of seeming they have or intuition. Or
Taste.
maybe
Taste.
some people, you could even add a numerical value to the preferences, like 1 to 10. Once it reaches 5, it becomes a moral preference, talking about the intensity. I don't know. There's different ways to do it, but then that number may be just like some sort of intuition that you have or feeling that you have about it or the intensity. I mean, there's different ways to do it. I don't necessarily do that because it's just a word to me. But
Yeah.
I know other people that take similar views to that.
Okay.
Or they want to say there are certain norms. Now, I don't know what those norms are like. Okay, I'm not going to. Never mind. I'm not going to be able to think of that on the spot. But they want to separate it by different kinds of norms between aesthetic norms, moral norms, taste preference norms, stuff like that. But I don't remember how they do that.
Okay, one thing I want to ask, and I feel like Alex didn't like when I asked this, thought I was wrong, but I don't know why. So I was asking before with Ryan, but this is a question for really everyone of the preference side of things. Of if from a subjectivist point of view, let's say, okay, let's even to broaden it out a bit. If you are not alive, and I don't know why this is a bad line of questioning, if you're not alive, then at that moment, right now you might have preferences for what the future looks like, but at that moment in 200 years, you're not alive. So then does that mean then the vanilla chocolate ice cream, no difference between a child being, harmed or not harmed? Then at that timeline, there is no, everything is nothing, like nothing. There's no moral judgment that can be made because it's everyone's individual preferences, and you're not there anymore to have those preferences. So at that moment in time, then there is absolutely no morality going on at all, right? In any real sense, which I guess would be the anti-realist position. But do I have this right?
No morality happening from like my conscious experience is what you're saying? Like, yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, and beyond, but then you're just punting. Then you're not even around to pick, so there's no one. Yeah, other people have moral
the only way I can,
but they could all be terrible people, and you can't pick between a John Wayne Gacy and Gandhi. You can't choose between those.
The only way I can make sense of this, I mean, and maybe you can provide me another way to look at it, but like the only way I can make sense of this question is like, well, like what would I prefer in this moment, right? And what would I prefer things like in terms of things happening in the future, like what would I prefer to have happened in the past, and then we can talk about why I prefer those things. That's an interesting conversation a lot of times, but like ultimately, yeah, like it is. I would hope that like other people would share those concerns and things that drive those preferences, right?
Right. I guess, and I know this is probably an impossible hypothetical to imagine. But like, if you never existed, okay, if you never existed, if a different child was born and it wasn't Ryan, a radical coder, then it's like, yeah, then you would say then there's nothing in that situation. There's no telling right from wrong in any capacity whatsoever, because it's all down to the individual. So there's nothing that you could possibly, and I know it's contradictory because there's no you because you don't exist.
Yeah.
So
no,
I get that,
you.
but yeah,
it's interesting. Like, there's no
I
ability.
would still say that there's still morals that exist even if I never existed. That's still like wrong to harm a child, and I don't think that's just my preference. I mean, maybe you'd say it is, but I think even if I didn't exist, that would still hold true.
But like, what I would say is that like the facts that I think lead me to have those preferences would still be true. Like, in terms of, like, let's use slavery as an example. Like the facts that like there's somebody who is having this like terrible experience of being like owned and like tortured by like one other person. This thing would still be happening. Like those facts, like the objective reality would still be happening, and then I would hope
those things would still be bad, right? Those things would still be bad, even if you didn't have preferences.
Well, I think from the perspective of the person being tortured, yes, absolutely. But from the perspective of the slaver, no, right?
From the perspective of the serial killer, stopping him is very much against his preferences.
Of course.
Right. So if you were I guess, let's say, okay, we shifted from non-existence. Let's say you're an omnipotent observer on this, but you have no preferences. You're just looking down. Let's say you have no
preferences.
Yeah, you imagine now you have no preferences.
This is tricky, but go ahead.
Then is everything?
I would prefer to have
equal?
preferences.
You see the serial killer. You see the guy being serial killed, and you're like, same, because like you're trying to.
Well, in this case, I'm the watcher, right? I'm the watcher, and I have no desire or any. I have no feeling about like what's happening.
It's all equal to you.
I'm emotionally unresponsive to like the things I'm seeing, basically. Like,
So I guess what I'm asking is if definitionally you have no preferences, then would you admit you have no preferences?
Exactly. Yes. That's what I was going to point out. You're asking a question where it's like so trivial.
You defined away the very thing that allows you to care about it all.
Yes.
This is why I thought this line of questioning was a dead end.
Well, I'm curious because
it's still a crazy admittance, though. I think that, especially at least the dead part, I understand the other thing is the dead part is what.
So Ryan, the reason I asked earlier was, do you think your preferences, like your morality, whatever you want to call it, your preferences are something like created by yourself or discovered, is because I'm trying to root the idea that morality or some things are morally universally good or bad, such as torturing children, right?
Mhm.
Any society that upholds that as a high principle that you should do that, right? We would want to eliminate them from this world, because it is we recognize, for whatever reason, that there is something truly wrong with that, and anyone who commits it is somebody you would never want to be around.
Yeah.
It's not just a preference. There's something much further to it than I feel this way, thus it is so.
Well, okay, so I agree. There's some. What I would say is there's something in like observing or even like imagining that suffering that makes you like want that to not be happening.
You're recognizing something wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, hang on. You're recognizing pain. You're recognizing suffering, and then you go, I don't want that suffering. I don't want that pain. I'm separating those.
I guess I'm not sure how you're separating those. Why does it matter what you
Well,
want?
because I feel like I guess if like I don't know. I don't know that like it's like morally wrong to like torture something that just like looks like an empty shell that looks like a child but it doesn't have a brain in it or something. Like, I mean, maybe.
Say you find out that I'm somebody who likes to do that.
Yeah.
Would you want me in your house while you're sleeping?
Probably not, because I'd be concerned that you would do
You would
something,
think
right?
that regardless
Yeah.
of whether it's a preference of mine to do it or not, there's something fundamentally wrong with me. It is something you cannot trust.
Yeah,
Right?
that you might do something that is it is objectionable to me. Yeah, of course.
It's not just objectionable, something horrendous. Saying objectionable is
But
like
I'm
saying
struggling.
I might.
Yeah.
Saying objectionable might be something like saying that I kicked you in your sleep, right? Or I spit in your food. That's objectionable. Like,
Yeah,
torturing you to death is not objectionable. It is something far more beyond that, right?
Well,
It might
yeah,
be
I mean,
something fucked up. Yeah.
I agree, but like, it still is. I think the intensity word comes in. Like, it's intensely objectionable, right? Like I really don't want that to happen. And part of that is from like, I guess the feeling that I have from imagining that, right? Like, and the pain that I don't want to happen, that I prefer. Like, it's.
So if
I
you
don't
saw
know.
me go to someone else's house, would that bother you? Would you feel the need to warn the person?
I think I would, yeah.
But why?
Because I don't want them to be harmed either by you.
He has the preference for them not to be harmed. This is what it probably comes down to, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, presumably, right? As long as I consider them like a moral agent, like part of my like in group or whatever. I guess. Like, I don't know.
Do you think
Now-
anyone? Is there anyone you would prefer that it happened to?
Anyone
That's
I
a dark
prefer
question.
get tortured?
Sure.
Um.
Like, do you consider the idea that some people deserve to be tortured?
Hey yo.
I could be. I mean, I'm open to the idea, but I don't know like the purpose of it.
You're wait.
Yeah.
You're open. Wait. Say
I'm
more.
open to the idea that like you could describe somebody and that I could be like, oh yeah, well I guess I would be okay with that person being tortured in this case, or I would want them to be tortured. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, I've seen some videos on Twitter and I watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, that guy should be tortured. For sure.
Yep.
I mean, I don't feel
know.
that. Yeah, I
don't
don't feel
know.
that. I think like I
Hold
can't.
on.
to be
Conflict,
virtue
conflict,
analysis. Okay.
Do you think I couldn't describe somebody to you that you would decide, yeah, they should probably be tortured?
The only case would be me, because I've thought about this, not in a weird way, in a normal way, about like if the means, if the ends justify the means or whatever.
Did the ends ever justify the means, Confluence?
Yes. So you could, if you describe it as a goal-oriented thing, like you could make a hypothetical where someone has taken someone I love and they are being tortured, and now the person I have knows where that location is, and he's not giving up the information, so I have to torture him to get the information. But you couldn't describe someone to me where the act is just like, I think he just deserves to be tortured for the sake of his crimes.
Oh, then how can you live in a world where God can send somebody to hell?
I don't live in that world. At least I fucking hope I don't.
You believe in God, right?
I do believe in God, yeah.
You believe in heaven and hell, or is it a different God than any other God that exists?
Look, there's a lot of gods that exist, but no, I don't believe that God is eternally torturing people in a play. I don't believe that. And I hope I'm right about that. I mean, Jesus.
I don't believe that he is
Jesus.
Either.
Yeah, but not in the same way. Not in the same way.
Well, hang on. Confluence, would you define separation from God as torture?
Yeah, like I think if we're using the biblical stuff, I think it's metaphorical. I think it probably either means annihilation or it's just as I'm very C.S. Lewis coded on this one. I think that like it's either that God is a gentleman, and so if someone like Ryan goes to meet God and he's like, I don't want God, I don't think God's gonna like force Ryan to be in his presence. And then so it's if Ryan chooses to go into the absence, but then that's not, it's not the typical picture of like a medieval torture. I don't think God is going to force someone into.
Are you envisioning a world where somebody, regardless of who they are, meets a divine being that created all life and offers them heaven or eternal damnation, that they would choose eternal damnation?
That's a very good question, and it's something I've struggled with. I do radically believe, I think, in the idea of volition. I think will is probably the most important thing almost in all of life. And I suck at willpower, so it's not like, but I do think it's true. And so I think that humans at least have that ability. Yeah, they can make a choice between God and not God.
I think.
No, I also see the point that if God, is all good, then why would you make that choice? I understand that. I'm just saying I think you can make that choice.
Well, yeah, I think the whole point is you can make that choice in this life before you meet him, right? You don't get that choice after the life.
I think if humans are anything, they're agentic creatures, I think. So even in an afterlife, I think maybe everyone has the ability and no one would choose that. Like I think that's a fair point. But I think there has to be the option to not choose that, I guess.
So that no one is in hell, no matter what they did in this world, no matter how evil or atrocious they were. No one would be there because everyone would just choose heaven.
I think. Well, I don't. I mean, we're kind of reducing it to maybe a type of Christian mythos that I don't necessarily hold to. But I would say ultimately, whatever we conceptualize as heaven, I think probably everyone who wants to be there will eventually be there. And I'm still playing with that mythos, but people suffer in real life for the mistakes they make, right? I think that is like a salvific process, right? Like I think that is a process of soul making, right? That they talk about
for a period of time until they've earned their place.
Yes, but also no.
So if he does that, then why is that immoral? That sounds like a good thing.
Because the reason is if I'm torturing someone, I'm probably not doing it for the betterment of them, right? Like, but if God is God and he knows that, like, okay, if I'm going through struggle, that struggle is going to benefit me. And if someone dies and they go through a set of trials or struggles and it benefits them in the end, then it's like, it's not torture in the way that we're talking about torture on a human level. Because if I just grab someone and start torturing them, it's like, I'm not trying to make them better. I definitely don't have the foreknowledge that it will make them better. I'm just like fucking doing some nonsense,
That's actually a really good answer.
No, finally, Alex gives me that attaboy,
Every once in a while, you deserve it.
Okay, there we go. Once in a while. But I also think we're all little expressions of God. I am Maryland coded in that way. I will say that. And, I do. I actually do. I do think that.
If you think God is perfect, then He cannot be us. Understand?
No, I think God is
Maryland's not
reality.
perfect.
I don't think I'm tantamount to God, but I think we are in some ways, and I don't even think this goes against Christianity. Actually, I think we are incarnations of God, and through the process of theosis, we become divinized into Godhead.
So then we just rejoin him when we die, like we don't actually exist outside of him.
No, I think we maintain our individuality.
He's
but
like
I think
blood.
I think we do have the. I think we do have the divine. We have a divine spark inside of us. Okay, I do truly believe that, and I think So I think we're all. You ever listen to Alan Watts? I think Alan Watts was on some good shit. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. I know he's a little crazy if you know who that is, but
he had some good points. You seem to agree with a lot of crazy people.
That's fair, but to a point. I take it and I nuance it a little bit to make it a little less crazy.
Sure.
That's my goal. That's my goal.
That's where the truth is found, inside of insanity.
It is. Well, yeah.
Interesting.
Low key, the truth is found inside of nuanced insanity.
I actually listen to Alan Watts all the time. I listen to him sometimes before I go to bed.
Oh, really? Oh, wait. Oh, and then he just was he trolling me, or is Ryan actually?
I think he got disconnected. Maybe I don't know.
No, I'm not trolling you. I don't know what just happened there, but no, I'm absolutely not trolling you. Like I listen to Alan Watts like religiously almost. Like I feel very.
That's great.
And Ram Dass.
I love Alan Watts.
The works.
Great.
I like these folks. I like what they have to say about like spirituality and stuff. I think it's a very compatible with like a secular worldview. Yeah.
Okay, but then wait. Okay, hold up. Then how are you like an anti-theist? Like that.
So maybe of course.
He's probably talking about organized religion when he says anti-theist.
Well,
is that what
maybe it's even more specific than that, right? Like, so when I say I'm anti-theistic, like I'm pointing to a particular problem I have and fear I have, which is where there are people who believe that they know the desires of the creator of the universe, and they want to use that knowledge, that alleged knowledge of what the creator of the universe wants, to impose their will on other people, and that's a very scary thing to me, and I reject anyone who tries to do that. Basically,
those people typically don't even believe they know; they just do it because it's a way to get power. But I agree. I don't know if that makes you an anti-theist.
I mean, I guess.
I think does an anti-theist mean like you hate God or you think God is evil?
I mean, it's certainly not the way I use it, but it might mean that in some definition.
But okay, loosely, let's say if I'm defining theism loosely, like forget what you've heard from me before. Let's say if I am a theist in the sense that I believe in a personal deity, right? And I do think that there is something that I would call God, right? In the same way that maybe Alan Watts would, and I say it's deeply personal. That would still classify me as a theist, but you wouldn't be anti that if I'm not trying to, seek power or claim.
It depends on
stuff.
Well, yeah, I guess, because like, I would have concern that you are acting, like within what you perceive to be the desires of this alleged creator of the universe. I like that alone, like, concerns me. If somebody believes they're acting in accordance with the creator of the universe's desires, like that, just like I feel like that's an irrational way of navigating the world that like it's hard for me to reconcile.
How is that more concerning than someone acting just on their preferences? How is that more fucking concerning? What the fuck?
Well, I think people can act on their preferences in very concerning ways. I don't when I talk, hang on, confluence. Well, hang on. No, sure. Listen, I can engage with this, right? Like when I talk about preferences and stuff, I'm purely being descriptive. Like I'm saying I can't imagine what all these things mean unless they are like subsets of preferences. Like morals are like some specific preferences and stuff. Like moral values are preferences that are like maybe some specific preferences, but like I can't conceptualize what these things mean outside of that framework for understanding them. Like that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying this is like this solves morality. I'm not saying that like, oh, this is the best way to imagine reality. Like if somebody offered me a better a better framework for understanding them, then I'm open to. I love frameworks. I love thinking about things, and I struggle to find one that makes more sense than that.
You just have to believe that morality is discovered, not manufactured. That's all you gotta do.
I can LARP as a moral realist if you guys want. I can pretend.
you.
I'm about. Can I ask one question and then I'm gonna dip out of here and call it a night?
Go.
If y'all don't mind. Is all your now are all your preferences rational, or can your preferences be irrational?
Okay, because I take rationality. There's two different senses of rationality. Ones that have to do with beliefs, and then ones that have to do with actions. So when you say like, "Am I acting rational?" Well, am I acting in accordance with my preferences? Then yes. If I'm not, then no. Same thing with my beliefs. Am I acting Am I believing in accordance with some sort of epistemic norm that I have? Yes. Then then that belief is rational. If I'm not, then it's irrational. That's how I understand rationality.
Okay. I mean, that seems to answer it as well. Now, can preferences have, was it epistemic, like, grounding, or I may be saying that word incorrectly?
No,
like,
I know.
can there be a foundation up under your preference?
It depends what you mean by foundation there, because like when you say an epistemic, sorry, my cat is Jesus. Because like when people talk about epistemic, they're talking about knowledge, but I think preference is different than like an epistemic grounding. And same thing with, if I'm being frank with you, when people use words like grounding and foundation, I usually don't know what they're referring to, so it's hard for me to answer what you're asking.
That's fair. Like, I guess is there?
Quippy is morally evil.
True.
Yeah, get this guy out of here.
I may be asking something that I'm not quite grasping myself. Like, I guess what I mean, like a foundation, is like, is each preference tied to, I guess, the same understanding you have about the world, or can preferences be kind of irrational and spontaneous? And if you still adhere to them, would it still be, I guess, more, or would it still be good even if the outcome's bad, if that makes sense? I mean, I may be talking outside of my wheelhouse, so I'm trying to frame it in the best way rationally I can think of.
No, you're fine. You're fine. There's a lot of. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not trying to be dismissive. There's a lot of loaded language in there, and I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily understand what you're asking me.
If you have a spontaneous preference, and you have like a preference that you would never do no matter what, versus I guess a preference that you just got on the spot. You know, hey, I want this to happen, or hey, I want ice cream. Versus a preference of, hey, I will never eat ice cream because of a particular reason. Is, I guess, can there be spontaneous preferences that are still, I guess, what I would consider morally good? Well, okay, I'm doing it again.
No, I think I understand. Maybe I understand. Because I do think we have sometimes conflicting desires. But because I don't think we can have them simultaneously, that would be just a straightforward contradiction. But I do think we can have conflicting desires. And if you're asking, like, well, in that case, which one would be the rational preference? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe that kind of grasped what I was struggling to say. Okay.
No, I don't think you're struggling. I think it's just us using words differently. I don't think you're struggling.
It's kind of like, let's say I have a preference not to kill someone my entire life, but all of a sudden I'm faced with like a lot of emotion, and then I get the desire or the preference to then off someone, like, and I follow through with that preference. Like, am I doing something that I would define immoral because I had the previous preference of never offing someone?
Oh, maybe in that moment it wouldn't be wrong or irrational, but you can have preferences before and after that. Like maybe you have a preference against, like you reflect on back what you did and you prefer that you not did that. So in that sense, I mean, if you want to call that irrational, it would just depend on what you mean by rational and irrational there. But I do think that can happen. I don't know if I'm answering your question, bro. I'm sorry.
No. I think you're doing fine. Okay. I guess what I mean by irrational would be like a sudden flood of emotion that causes you to change one perception to another and then be contradictory. And it's kind of like it's not rational because I guess it involves a flooding of emotion that maybe you're not controlling in that moment, but I feel like that's a fair answer that you gave.
Sure. Then in that sense, it would be, I would have a conflicting desire there. But yeah, I think I kind of answered that then. Okay.
Well, I think there's an interesting thing. I can dive deeper into an earlier question, right? Like when I was being asked about whether or not I would prefer for like anybody to be tortured. What I was thinking about when I was being asked that question is like, well, can I imagine like being like, because in general, like by and large, I have a preference against torture. Like I find it like very bad. You know, like I think it's not a good thing to do to anybody. I don't want anybody to be tortured. However, I'm imagining like, can I imagine a situation where I'm so emotionally disturbed by something some individual did or my perception of what they did that I would be like I would just throw that out and be like, no, fuck it, like I just want to see this fucker burn, like some shit like that. Like I can imagine being in a situation like that where I might override my general like baseline preferences, you know.
Well, guys, I'm gonna call it a night. It's been fun. I won't lie. I hope we get together and do this again.
Yeah, good talking with you, Big Soda.
I was gonna say this is above my wheelhouse, so I'm trying.
Dude,
I don't
you
think
did
it is.
great.
But y'all have a good night.
It's a great combo, yeah.
Yeah.
See you, Big Soda.
Yeah.
Brandon, I'm curious about the irrationality thing that you said or your definition of it, because, and I think this ties into what Ryan said too, because like, I feel like that changes things. Like, yes, like there's no one I could imagine torturing right now, but yes, if you gave me a combination of like schizophrenia and like PCP and like put me in a heightened state, yeah, I'd probably fucking torture anyone. Like, who knows? Like,
well, I mean, or if we just made like, I guess the question is
though anymore.
More if we made you like angry enough, right? Like if you made you so upset at a person that like you're like, I don't care what happens to this person. In fact, I want to see them hurt, you know?
Yeah, and I guess it depends how we interpret the question. Because when I was thinking of the question, I'm thinking like, what do I think is the morally correct thing to do? But yes, I'm sure if like someone like if I just witnessed them torture all the people I loved, then I would probably be mad enough that I would do it. I don't. But I guess we get back into this where I would say I would think I would be doing the wrong action. I might still do that action. I think it would probably not be the most optimal. I can understand why I would do the action, but I think it would be like an immoral action to do.
What do you mean by optimal?
Like the most moral thing. Like, so someone. Oh, actually, Big Soda. Me and him, we had a conversation before, and we will be talking about this on stream. We were talking about abortion in the case of like grape and stuff. And I was trying to explain my opinion that I think it's like that. I think the optimal thing would be for the woman to keep the child, but I wouldn't want to legislate on that, and I wouldn't personally judge someone for not doing it. But I think the most optimal thing morally would be for them to keep it. So in the torturing thing, I totally understand why someone like myself, if I saw all my family members and loved ones be tortured, that I would do that. But I don't think that's the morally best thing. But it's at the same time, it's an understandable thing, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Does that?
I need to look something up quick.
Okay.
So just to make sure I have it right, so you're saying that it would be immoral to do that, but you'd be acting irrationally?
I'm saying yes. I'm trying to.
He's saying his preference is that they keep it.
Well, in both the situations, I think yeah, there is the moral highest thing that I would think, but at the same time, it's like when you get into a difficult enough situation, either rationally or from other things, or from irrationality, right? Then it's like, then it's not something. Then I start using the language of optimal. So I guess that was my answer to Alex. I guess it's why, because I'm not. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable being like I'm acting immorally if I'm torturing someone that I just saw, because it's totally understandable that I'd be in a state of mind where I could be so angry that I might do it. I don't think it's the best moral option that I'm doing, though. But I wouldn't judge myself for doing that, if that makes sense. In the same way as the abortion grape thing, where it's like I wouldn't judge them, but optimally, I think what's the best possible thing a human could do is probably to keep. I'm trying to trigger Ryan right now.
Are you saying? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Alex.
No, you go ahead.
Well, my cat is fucking shit up, so I'd prefer if you.
Okay, I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead.
Second.
Okay, so hold on. Are you saying that your feelings can change what's moral?
Well, not change what's moral, but change the degree of culpability for sure. Like that's why I brought up the Canadian example of the beheading on the bus.
With morality.
Like I mean moral culpability. Like how much are you morally responsible? I think if I let's say I smoke some weed, and it ends up being like laced with something, and then I go on a rampage, right? It's like, yeah, that was an immoral action, but I don't know how much morally culpable I am, either to myself or to God or to anything, because it's like if I was truly acting in my best intentions, then it's like I'm definitely in a lessened state of being able to make a moral decision, right? So,
well, sure, but you're putting yourself in that state to begin with by imbibing things that affect your cognition, right?
Right, but in my example, I'm smoking weed and it ended up being laced with something. So it's like maybe I have some culpability for smoking in the first place, but like the reasonable assumption, let's say, is that it's not like laced with like PCP or something, So it's like there's a degree of that, but I think, I mean, maybe we actually disagree on this. I'm not sure. Maybe we all do, but I would say if I do something, well, let's say I get really drunk and I do a bad action. Yes, I put myself in that state where I got really drunk, but to some degree, I do think the moral culpability is a bit lessened if I had no prior knowledge that I would do that action.
Well, I mean, by that case, then if somebody gets scared, their life's going to be ruined, and they decide to end a police officer so they don't go to jail, then you're saying basically that's the same thing.
Yeah, I would say, and again, I'm not saying. I think it's a sliding scale, right? I think I don't see things as just like one thing is like immoral and one thing is moral. I think there is a sliding scale of like morality, right? So it's like, yeah, I think all these contravening factors. I mean, just like the from everything from your genetics, right? If you're more predisposed to violence, or if you had a bad upbringing, right? Like all these things, I think play a factor. Your mental state that you're in at the time, like, and that's something that it's hard for us to know because we're not in that person's head. But I think that's something that, you know, from an objective point of view, it does change things.
Like if somebody has like a schizophrenic break, you know why we don't, or somebody has like multiple personality disorder, or they have like a moment of insanity, you know why we don't hold them accountable for it, right?
Well, yeah, because we don't think that they were acting with any degree of agency. I think they were insane at the time, right?
The legal justification is because the person who committed those actions does not exist anymore.
I've never heard that. I mean, isn't it literally called like found not guilty by reason of insanity?
Yes, it is. So the person who committed those actions is not the person that you actually are, right? We can't hold you guilty for something that something controlling you did.
Right. Okay. Yeah. If that is the legal thing, I mean,
you still did the crime. You're
right.
just not guilty by this reason.
Yeah. And that's I think that's reasonable.
So if you're talking about somebody who has something that happens to them, then that's different than somebody who chooses to engage in risky things and it ends up being way worse than they thought it was.
Those are
why
different,
we don't care as much about like people who are drunk and commit murder versus people who are not drunk.
I know legally we don't, but I maybe I'm gonna lose you on this, but I actually think there is probably a moral difference there. I do, because if you're just doing a potentially risky action, let's say you have no knowledge of any violent predilections that you might have, and then you get like blackout drunk, and then you end somebody. I think you're morally guilty, and I think you're, but I don't think you're as morally guilty. I mean, there's a reason why we talk about like he murdered someone in cold blood, right? Like we use that phrase as like that's a worse thing to do, right? Because you're not emotionally loaded. You're doing it like you're in a normal logical state, and you did it, right? You're not under the influence of anything. You're not super mad. You're not like super jealous. You didn't just like walk in on your wife cheating, right? It's in cold blood. You decided. It's a calculated decision. There's a reason we see that worse than less calculated decision. And I would say if you're really intoxicated, that would be one thing that would lessen your agency. And I think the less agency you have, we can't apply this legally, of course. Like you can't just say, "Oh, I was drunk, so I killed this person." But I think from a moral perspective, I think there is some degree where it starts to limit your moral culpability.
Interesting.
Do you disagree, or?
I think there's a point, but I think the more involved you are in bringing yourself to that state, the less I care about the state itself.
That's fair, but I would say that's why I tried to caveat it with like if you know you have violent tendencies, or because like for me, I've never done something violent while I've been intoxicated before. So if I did get
the first
really
time,
intoxicated,
you might get more of a pass. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Once you're like, I'm the kind of guy that when I down some, I go out and like punch women in the head. Then it's like, yeah, then you probably should stop getting that drunk, because it's so then you are more morally culpable. But it's like same with like I've never driven drunk before, but if all of a sudden I like down some and then I end up behind the wheel, it's like I am guilty and I am morally responsible, but it is lesser than me right now deciding to like speed recklessly in a normal state of mind and just be like, I don't give a fuck if I kill anyone. Like that, to me, that just has to be a lesser immoral action, I think.
Well, how
even
immoral
if
is
boots
it?
on the ground, we can't treat it differently.
How immoral is it to interrupt you guys right now to say I am gonna bounce? I'm really tired, so I'm about to end my stream, and I'm gonna
super immoral.
Super immoral.
But I do want to.
This motherfucker beat me to it. I got to go too. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I do want to say real quick. I mean, Alexander, I definitely want to talk to you more about this. You answered my my conundrum with like how else can I think about morality as about it being discovered. But I guess just to reignite the flame and then leave before we can explore it. I feel like the thing that I'm like a lot of things like I feel like it's possible to rationally adjust or like to like go through like a rational process that like adjusts how like what your preferences are, like by you learn new information and it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I actually would prefer that thing not to be the case. And I feel like that's like I feel like that might be like what everything you might describe as discovering morality, I feel like might be characterized in that under that umbrella. But I don't know, maybe we can definitely dig into that another time unless you have like a super quick rebuttal.
I mean, yeah, I can give you something really quick. Like, it's about the depth you're willing to go to, or the amount of grace you're willing to give the idea. Like I think Brandon was saying this earlier as well. If he's struggling with something, he would go through a bunch of iterations to discover what exactly it is about this thing that he prefers, as if he doesn't actually know what it is. Well, that by itself tells you it's not just like a preference. There's something within you that has already made this determination. You just don't know what all the check boxes are that bring you to that point, right? And it seems like this kind of determination is shared by almost everyone across the world, and it's not something we teach because we don't even know it ourselves.
I'll reflect on that, but
yeah.
But it still feels compatible.
Ryan,
my gut tells me it's still compatible, but I'm going to go
Watts, okay?
Yeah.
That's what I want from you.
Read that thing I sent you.
I did actually. I thought about. I also thought about it when I was on the panel the other day, and I was getting when I was getting aggressive with the guys I was arguing against, and I kind of I took a step back, because I realized that I was I was kind of in real time I was kind of like soaking that in. I guess it was actually really interesting. I definitely will explore that more with you as well. But yeah,
right,
appreciate you guys.
All right. Always a pleasure, Ryan.
My pleasure, man.
Good to see you.
See you, Ram.
Preferences can like, you don't have to know your I feel like a lot of that conversation we talked about how like, well, I might not be able to identify my preference, or like I might be trying to identify like what thing I prefer, like, because I might have like competing feelings about things, and I can't like put a pin on the one that I really prefer, and like I would then go through like that kind of iterative process he was just describing. But anyway, I'm gonna send you guys a Dusty because it looks like he's roasting Steven Crowder, which is objectively morally good because Steven Crowder is a bitch, and you guys are not bitches. You guys are fantastic. If anyone's still here, thank you for sticking around. I know this was not well, I guess I was gonna cover like Fuentes versus Pierce, but I didn't do any of that. So I hope it was still enjoyable, and I will see you guys next time. And tell Dusty that learning is radical, if you can. Goodbye. Thanks, Fuzzy.